one condition.
Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Well, hello, you Flickamaniacs, and welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show, Friday night edition. And I call it whatever day of the week edition because these are random. And one day very soon, we will pick a dedicated day and time to do the weekly live shows. But I missed you too much this weekend. I figured we could hang out, grab some popcorn, something cold to drink. You guys know how this goes. And we'll just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Ask anything you want to in just 1 second. So go ahead and get those questions in, those glorious, magical, mystical questions. And by the way, check out my Pizza Planet jacket. I got this many years ago, back in 1995, when I used to deliver pizzas at Pizza Planet. And then one day, a couple toys jumped in the back of my pickup truck, and my life has never been the same. All of that's a lie. I bought this at Halloween City last year, but I like it. It's really neat. Feels good. I feel fresh, as the kids say. Or do they say that? I don't know. All right, we got a few questions in here already, and I have a few topics I do want to cover. But since this is a very cool super chat, let's dive into this one from Avocado Balls Johnson. That is a glorious name, Avocado Balls. If you could combine, never mind. Let's go to the question. I remember an old Q&A video you did where someone asked if you would rather poop through your penis or sweat through your pores. I've been searching both of your channels to rewatch that glorious moment, but I can't find the video. Wait, what? Okay, my brain just got melted there. If you would rather poop through your penis or sweat pores? Sweat pores? What is the... You're going to have to elaborate on that question ever so slightly, man. I already sweat through my pores, and I already do poop through my penis, so this would just be another day. I don't remember that. I vaguely... You know what? No, I don't. That's a different video. I don't remember this video where that question was submitted. But if I had to pick one, you know what? To keep it real with you, probably option number 2. I don't... Yeah, let's just go option number 2, man. Because let's face it, never mind. I was going to do a rant about wet wipes, but you guys don't want to hear that, do you? No, you do not. But nevertheless, thanks for the question, Avocado Balls Johnson. All right, there's a few things I want to talk about real quick, and go ahead and keep getting your questions in. I can't wait to answer them as I try to figure out what I'm doing over here with this. Okay, so there was a few things that happened over the course of the last few days. And one of those was there was some movie news that came out that I want to cover. So here it goes. All right. So it was mentioned today from Discussing Film that the upcoming Netflix movie, The Electric State, directed by the dudes who directed the Avengers movies, the Russo brothers. It's been reported that the budget for this movie, this Netflix movie, keep in mind, this isn't going to theaters. This is simply going to Netflix. And it's probably never going to Blu-ray or DVD. It's just going to Netflix. The budget for this movie is $320 million. Did you hear what I said? $320 million. I shared this today on X. And for $320 million, that is the budget that they spent on Avengers Infinity War. And with that movie, you got the entire lineup of the Avengers. In this, you simply get Star-Lord and Millie Bobby Brown doing things. What are those things? I couldn't quite tell you. I know it's based on a novel from 2018. That's all I know about it. It currently debuted on Rotten Tomatoes with a 10%. And with a $320 million budget, I don't know if that was a good investment. And I have a theory when it comes to Netflix movies. This is either the most elaborate, blatant, obvious money laundering scheme in the history of the planet, or this company is simply ran by incompetent people who don't know how to balance a checkbook, and they think a movie that people are going to watch once and instantly forget about the next day is worth $320 million. Keep in mind, Best Picture winner of the year, Nora, love it or hate it, It won the Best Picture. That movie costs $8 or $9 million, okay? So you can make I'm not a mathematician. I'm just some dude wearing a Pizza Planet jacket on the internet talking about movies in his underwear. But you can make 40 Anoras for that. Probably more. I'm not good at math, okay? That's why I talk about movies on YouTube. But what do you guys think about this? Is this just another Netflix movie that's going to fail miserably and no one's really going to like, and it's going to be sort of generic and a little bit bland and look a little too dull and lifeless, like everyone's made out of plastic and they're standing on a green screen somewhere? That's the vibe I'm picking up from it. But nevertheless, I am curious to check it out when it comes out in a few weeks, or it comes out March 14th, I think, next week. So I'm going to watch it. We will talk about it. The concept, I'm not going to lie to you, the concept sounds kind of fun, but I have a feeling the execution won't be. So share your thoughts on the Electric State. And for me, at one point, I enjoyed Chris Pratt. And it's not that I hate Chris Pratt. I don't. I think there's a time and a place for Chris Pratt. Was that time and place fighting dinosaurs and training velociraptors and riding a motorcycle beside them? No, that wasn't quite it. Was it Star-Lord? I thought he was a good Star-Lord. He has charisma. He has some likability to him. But I'm just so tired of seeing him. He's so oversaturated. He's kind of like The Rock, you know? It's just like, okay, do something else. Just take a break. Maybe take a dramatic role in a small independent film. And then come back to the blockbusters. You don't need the money. You already have the fame. If it's about your craft, well, go do something where you can actually act. Not just wear a $10 wig from Party City and hang out with Eleven from Stranger Things. So $320 million, whew, scary stuff, man. All right, and the next bit of movie news I want to cover with you guys here is I saw a little movie yesterday, and that little movie is, and by the way, look at my face. Look at that guy's face. Ugh, a face only a mother could love. Anyway, I saw the movie Mickey 17 last night, and I gave a quick little blurb about it on my X account, which you should follow me at the FlickPick on there. But more or less, when it comes to Mickey 17, I was really looking forward to this movie. I would go so far as to say it might have been one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it's because of Bong Joon-ho, the director who directed Parasite, which is probably my favorite movie of the last 6-7 years, or at least one of my top favorite movies of the past decade. And it won Best Movie of 2019, and in fact was my favorite movie of 2019. As far as this movie goes, I think the first act starts off really strong. It's weird, it's bizarre, it's sci-fi, it's a dystopian futuristic setting in 2050, and it gave me very strong Idiocracy vibes. If you've seen that movie from 2006, it had that sort of vibe and tone going into it. And what I mean by that is everyone that lives in this society, and by society, it's really just this ship that goes on this extended expedition to colonize another planet, which, by the way, it's an ice planet that sort of reminded me of Hoth from Star Wars. And they even have very hairy creatures that live on this planet. And there's an entire subplot dedicated to weird, hairy creatures with tentacles coming out of their faces that look like little baby thumbs, but on steroids. And saying all of that, yeah, that's the most disturbing thing I think I've ever said in my entire life. But everyone that exists in this movie is slightly incompetent and probably has an IQ lower than Forrest Gump. And that's the charm and the vibe of the movie. And I was into it. For the first hour of this movie, I was like, this is fun. This is cool. This is something different. And I thought the direction at times was very well done. I thought it looked like an expensive movie, and it cost over $100 million. And how often do we get a straight up dark comedy that costs $100+ million that looks like it's shot like a blockbuster? So I was into it. I thought Robert Pattinson was giving a great performance. I thought his character Mickey was interesting. I thought the entire concept of him being he's not called a replicant. He's not called a reprint, though they do use that term. He is called an expendable. There we go. But all three sort of apply. And he more or less signs up and gives his soul and his body to this dubious corporation, and his entire job is he's basically a human guinea pig. So he risks his life multiple times throughout this movie. Obviously, he's Mickey 17, so spoilers, he's died 17 times in the movie. And I thought a lot of those death sequences were fun and entertaining, and that sounds morbid in itself. But there's one sequence, and no spoilers, I'm just giving you the bullet points of what I liked and didn't like about the movie. There's one scene where he's outside of a spaceship during this mission, and the scientists inside the spaceship, they just use him as a guinea pig. That's all. He's just a lab rat, because they know once he dies, they're going to just replicate him again and upload his memory to the new cloned body. So they ask him to take off his space glove, and he's like, why? And they're like, well, we just want to see what radiation does to you. So he just basically tortures himself, but they do it in a way where there's a lot of levity and it's funny, and you're like, oh, that guy's basically committing suicide. But no one cares about him. So I guess I liked those things, but then you get halfway through the movie, okay? And then there's a lot of ideas that transpire, and they're half-baked, and they're all over the place, and the movie never really commits to one of those ideas. There's slivers of good ideas and cool concepts in there, especially when it comes to the cloning process. At times, it reminded me of the 1996 movie. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but it's called Multiplicity, with Michael Keaton, where he clones himself multiple times because he just can't keep up with his everyday life. It's kind of an underrated movie. Check it out. Box office bomb, though. But yeah, I thought halfway through the movie, it just lost all focus. And the concept of the movie was great. It was interesting. But then it just went off the rails in all these different directions. And I won't lie to you, I started to doze off towards the third act of this movie, because I was like, this is just like, I don't care about anyone in this movie anymore. The antagonist of the film, played by Mark Ruffalo, I think I read something that said he wasn't going for this, but I think that's a blatant lie. It felt like he was doing his best B-rate SNL parody version of Donald Trump meets the aliens from Galaxy Quest. You know, the aliens go, yes. You know that? You know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go watch Galaxy Quest. And it was just, I thought he was a really unlikable antagonist, and that's their job. And I thought he was chewing up the scenery as much as he could and being the most unlikable human being alive. He's basically a politician that uses people, right? He's almost a televangelist. You know those preachers that come on TV and, you know, you can just tell they're selling a lie for cash and using people. That's the way his character came across. And by the third act of the movie, I was over that shtick. It wasn't funny. The jokes weren't landing. It was all over the place. And then it goes off the rails with some alien creatures. So anyway, am I saying I hate the movie? No, I'm not saying it. Okay, and that's not what I'm saying. I think it's worth a watch. And I think if anything, it's worth watching for Robert Pattinson's performance in the movie and the first act. But lower your expectations. Because by the end of it, you're just like, I don't care. Is this almost over? And the other thing about the movie is it definitely overstays its welcome. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. And a movie that's basically a straight up comedy with some action and sci-fi in it. 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's way too damn long. It really is. You're exhausted. You're just like, this should have been 15 minutes shorter. But once again, it's worth one watch. Do I think you need to run to the theater and watch it? I would watch it at home on a rainy day when you can just sit back and relax. So those are my quick few updates for all of you guys. The only two topics I wanted to cover. And since we got those out of the way, now it's time to dive into the good stuff. That juicy, gooey good stuff known as your questions. So here we go, guys. This is it. Don't get scared now. All right. And a few... I didn't say a spoiler. Don't be one of those morons who... Did you see the trailer? I didn't tell you anything that wasn't in it. There you go, man. No spoilers. I gave you the synopsis of the film with some insight, okay? All right. No spoilers. John, you said that guy went outside in the movie and looked up at the sky. Spoiler. It'll be okay, man. I promise you. You don't know what happens. You have no clue. All right. And plus, the book came out like 10 years ago. You'll be okay. All right. All right. The next one comes from. All right. Sorry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I love you. I'm not angry at you. All right. Let's back it up. Let's back it way, way up. All right. Here we go. This one comes from Greg Harris, who says, what do you think of Travis Scott? I think he's the modern day equivalent of Flavor Flav. And now his music, I've listened to a few of them and I can't understand any of the lyrics whatsoever. And I don't know if he is saying lyrics because I only heard kind of like 3 mumble words in there. And the main focal point of his songs, the ones I've heard, now keep in mind, the majority of his songs I've heard come from WWE television, because he's been making some appearances on there and they play his music as one of their theme songs. It just sounds like the beat, and it sounds like some guy in the background going, it's like, I don't know. Is he gurgling Listerine or sucking a hot dog? I don't fucking know what he's doing. So those are my thoughts on Travis Scott. And plus, when it comes to Travis Scott, he made an appearance last week at WWE Elimination Chamber where he got in the ring. He looked like a special needs kid dancing around, and they were just granting a Make-A-Wish Foundation to some kid. And he was running around in the ring, and then he slapped Cody Rhodes in the head, but he didn't know what he was doing, so he gave him a black eye and busted his eardrum because he's that incompetent. He couldn't remember 2 things. Like, there's 2 things you do in wrestling. First of all, it's not real, Travis. You don't actually have to hit someone. You can stop right before you do so. It'll be all right, man. He'll sell it for you and make you look real tough. And by make you look real tough, I mean, well, never mind. I'll leave it there. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Travis Scott. Let's go to the next one here. Movies are life. And by the way, did you notice I figured out how to do something finally? I can show your questions when I finally go to answer them. Isn't that cool? It only took a year to figure that out. But here it goes. Anything you remember about the Jackal 1997? And tonight's beverage is a baby can of Ghost Blue Raspberry Sour Patch Kids. Oh, it's so good. Holding this can just makes me feel like a man. It's so small. I love it. All right. So the Jackal, I remember Bruce Willis is in it with a mustache, wearing glasses. I know it's based on a novel or a novel series, and I did watch the first episode of the Hulu series starring Eddie Redmayne called The Jackal, which is also based on the novels. And I remember there's some cool shots with a sniper rifle. Wasn't Jack Black in there? And Bruce Willis kills him in sort of like a comedic way. That's vaguely what I remember about The Jackal. I've seen that movie one time, and I remember watching it on VHS at my grandparents' house because my grandmother would go to garage sales and buy random movies. And one day I put that in, and I thought it was okay as a kid, but it was never one of those movies I needed to go watch again, but maybe I should. All right. Yeah, and how's everybody doing? Thanks for joining me, guys. And if we have any YouTube members in here, chime in. Let me know you're here. How are you guys doing? How are you? How's life? If you want to comment where you're watching from right now, city, state, social security number, and address, feel free to do so. If you want to include your blood type, that's up to you. I don't want to go too far with it. All right. But seriously, give me a comment. Let me know where you guys are watching from. John, do you like Letterboxd? I've started a few Letterboxd accounts over the years, and I go on there for like 2 hours and I rate 2,000 movies that I've seen, and then I never go back to it again, man. I'll be honest with you. It just kind of feels like a chore sometimes to do it. And the other thing is, if I didn't post thoughts and reactions on X or Instagram or YouTube or what have you, I would probably be a bit more dedicated as a movie enthusiast to using Letterboxd. But when I'm posting my opinions all over the place, it just feels like, well, why put it there as well, you know? So, all right. Yeah. Keep letting me know where you guys are from. I'll give you guys some shout outs momentarily. Just hang on tight. All right. The next one comes from JR, who says... We'll get JR. It'll pop up in a second. John, what do you think the Shining ending meant? Well, it's open to interpretation. It really is. The thing is, people always ask me things like that. And really, I just sit back and look at the tone of the movie. I say it's a deep dive into madness. It's one man losing his shit. And then I hyper focus and all the little secret innuendos that... oh my God, I just forgot the director of The Shining. Oh my God. I'm a guy who talks about movies and I forgot this. 2001: A Space Odyssey, Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick. Sorry guys, my IMDb database memory chip is a little slow today. I had a few too many drinks earlier, so I'm paying the piper right now. But the thing is, like, when it comes to the interpretation of any ending to any film, I don't know. I don't want to give you an analysis on it. I'll be honest, I'm slightly too drunk for that. But thank you guys for telling me Kubrick, yes. I just consider that movie a deep dive into madness. And one day when I go on vacation with my family, I will probably take an axe to the door. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. And then I'm going to freeze outside. And that's the end of me. All right. We got some people in here. Daddy Needs to Chill from Germany. Oh, man. How's it going over there? Max Neugenbauer. Worst Jack Black movie is Dear Santa. Yes, it is. The next one, the movie guy says, Rainy Washington State. I went there a couple years ago. My buddy lives in Seattle. Alan is from Santa Clarita, where they filmed the bridge scene in Lost Boys. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Isn't that bridge still there, or did they tear that down? The White Skull, Colorado Springs. How's it going, man? How are you? We got Manuel here from North Texas. GZ Movie Channel, Boston, Massachusetts. Hey, what are you doing over there, huh? How many firefighters you got over there? And then Alan from Santa Cruz, Virginia. We got Potted Plant Entertainment. Faisal Haiti, Russia. I didn't know you lived in Russia, man. I guess I never knew that. That's insane. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for joining me, man. And then we got Anthony, St. Louis, dodging bullets while I watch. Well, if you get too bored, you can go check out the Arch. I'm sure everyone in St. Louis goes to it on a weekly basis. All right, guys, let's dive into some more questions here. And the next one comes from Jishin, who says, well, he's saying something. Come on, Jishin. There we go. Johnny Boy, we are long overdue for a classic movie night video. Those were my favorite. I enjoyed watching them. Let me think on it. I would like to do another movie night. What's the next big thing coming out I could talk about? I will try to do a movie night for the next big movie in a franchise, and then I'll do a movie night for another movie in the franchise or the predecessor to said movie. So I'm trying to think of something big coming out this year. I mean, I could do a movie night for Man of Steel to see if it still holds up before the new Superman movie comes out. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, let me know. Something like that. It'll be something like that. So I can do one of those for you, man. Okay. The next one comes from Matt Logan, who says, it will make you feel better about who you are and what you're doing in life. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We got one up here. We got one from Batrice Chaswick. How is it going, Batrice? Thanks for joining in. Do you ever wish you could erase movies from your mind so technically they're not canon, i.e., Terminator Dark, Star Wars, Rise of Ass, F-U-C-K? Okay, so yes, eradicate one of the terrible movies from my brain to feel better about the franchise. I think as a guy who talks about movies, having those negative, bad memories is almost a necessity, is it not? Because to understand what's good, you have to see the bad and the good and then make a decision in the middle. So I think if I could push a button, and erase some bad movies from franchises altogether. Like they just don't exist. Like I do a Thanos snap and just erase it from everyone's memory. That's what I would do if I got the Infinity Stones. You want me to wipe out half of humanity? Nah, I just erase bad movies. That's all I do. Who could be mad at me in that situation, though? Like, I think the Avengers would back me up. Except for Sam Wilson, because Captain America, Brave New World, gone. So, yeah, that'd be kind of a cool power. I don't know how we got there, but we did. So, yes, I think Rise of Skywalker would be on the top 10 of that list. It doesn't deserve to exist. And everyone responsible should be punished for their sins against humanity. All right. The next one is coming from... Oh, gosh, you guys are killing it. Here we go now. All right. Daddy Needs to Chill. Did you ever watch Smokey and the Bandit? What a fun 70s movie. They don't make them like they used to. Old man voice. You are looking spicy, John. Thank you. This is my Planet Fitness jacket, all smooth. This is the first time I've ever worn it. I'm going to keep it real with you. Outside of walking around in my house with it on, never wore this anywhere. But I like it. So the question is, I have never sat down and probably watched all of a Smokey and Bandit movie. I love me some Burt Reynolds, but those were movies that, I mean, I know all about the cool Trans Am. It's pure late 70s, early 80s. And Fields, Sally Fields, I just call her Forrest Gump's mama, was in it. But man, I couldn't really pinpoint any scene or reference anything in the movie. I've never sat down and watched them. But I wouldn't mind doing so when I was inebriated at some point in life. All right, the next one comes from... Ooh, Claudio Rogue John. How's it going, buddy? Okay, Claudio says, hey, John, it seems like all these actors like Chris Pratt, who always played the same one-note fast-talking heroes, have all been regulated to Netflix. That is a good point. Ryan Reynolds with Red Notice, Chris Evans with Gray Man. Who do you think this is? Oh, why do I think this is? Who, why, when, where? Why do I think this is? I think they basically sold their souls. I really do. Well, first and foremost, I think Netflix gobbles up anyone who has a slight likability about them that middle-class families will love to watch. And I think they sign them into a 10-picture deal on Netflix, and they pay them a shit ton of cash, to the point they can't say no. Why would you say no? And I think that's what's happening here. I think they just sign these big picture deals, multiple picture deals, and they're pretty much they're owned by Netflix. And good for them. You know, if you're making money and making mediocre movies along the way, and you can just show up, put on a cheap wig, and say a couple lines that were generated from ChatGPT, and then they shoot it with cameras that make everything look glossy, fake, and very artificial, then why not do that? You know, so that's what I say. But you also have to understand, and I might be going a little too philosophical here, but I've always been curious, and hear me out for a second. And if you guys have any insights to this, please share those in the comments right now. But there are so many actors where they do not need to work another day in their lives. They could live off the residuals. They have already made hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars. And I ask myself, why do they still make movies? And one response to this could be, well, they love their craft. They love acting. That's what they do. It's their passion. It's their desire. It's like an artist. They always want to paint. Okay, maybe. I can appreciate that. But then why make movies like The Electric State if this is like a passion for you? Why aren't you making independent films where you can act and have a gravitas to you and really show emotion and share a story that's raw and visceral rather than stand in front of a green screen? That's my question. I don't understand why they do it. And the only answer I can come up with is it's pure narcissism. They love themselves so much that they have to live in the spotlight and have their names resonate forever, whether it on movies or billboards or whatever. It just, is it ego? Do they just need to be known at all times? Or did they simply sell their soul to the devil and they just had to make movies until the day they wither away and die? I don't know. These are thoughts I think about late at night when I am having an existential crisis and scrolling through Reddit forums. Leave your thoughts down below and let me know what you think about that. Okay, the next one comes from Clark Ingleton. Here it goes. John, there's a cyclone in Australia and our holiday is Gold Coast is canceled. Please console me. Ever lived through a natural weather disaster? Fun story. We actually have some family having a wedding down in Sydney right now. So I have no clue. I don't know where the Gold Coast is. I don't know which side of Australia the Gold Coast is. I'm sorry. I know oceans. I don't know which coastal line Gold Coast is. But nevertheless, man, that sucks. Oh, that sucks, man. So did you go there and then it got canceled? Oh, it got canceled before you went because there is a hurricane. That sucks, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I guess find something else to do indoors. I go to an indoor water park or just wait it out or go somewhere else, man. I'm trying to think if I've lived through an actual hardcore natural disaster. I've had some bad snowstorms in my life, but nothing too crazy. There's been some tornadoes near my town, but I've never really had to sit through an actual natural disaster. And that's the reason I live in Indiana. I just think I have natural survival instincts where not a lot of things happen in Indiana. Like maybe, just maybe, I guess I could die by corn. Don't ask how. He was running backwards through the cornfield. And he died bleeding out anally. Don't ask questions. Which would not be a bad way to go. But yeah, man, never lived through a natural disaster, but that sucks. I hope you, I don't know, set inside to watch a movie. Or I know, set inside and watch me rather than go to the Gold Coast. I'm sorry, I just made that much worse. All right. Avocado Balls Johnson back again. And by the way, thanks for the question earlier, man. Did I understand what your question was, or am I incompetent? Anyway, Nic Cage is still paying off the $63 million T-Rex skull he bought. Yeah, Nic Cage was in some debt with the IRS, and aren't we all, you know? But I get why he works. I get why Nic Cage works. Okay? I get why Nic Cage films 17 movies per week, and they all come out to DVD. Even though DVD is a dead format, they still come out to DVD. And 7 people watched them. I've always questioned how those straight-to-DVD Nicolas Cage movies made money. Like, how did they make any money? And Nicolas Cage's rate, even for a crappy movie, is still like, I think, 20% of the budget or 40% of the budget. And he always at least gets like $1 or $2 million from these movies. And I don't know how they make any money just being sold at the $5 bin in Walmart. I've never understood it. I think there's a scam going on there. I'm just going to put it out there. Money laundry. All right. The next one comes from Balloon Raccoon says they sold their soul in blood rituals. I mean, I don't put it past Hollywood. I really don't. Max Nugenbauer says Twister is better than Volcano. Well, yeah, absolutely, man. What are you talking about? All right, let's go to the next one here. We got Avocado Balls Johnson once again, who says, I watched The Neon Demon for the first time right before this live stream. That's 2 hours. 2 hour. Can you tell I took an edible? 2 hours I'll never get back. Do yourself a favor and skip that shit unless you require a sleeping aid. Yeah, man, I like the director. I like 2 of the director's movies, but I love. That sucks. So you're saying it sucks. Okay. See, I love to drive, hate Only God Forgives, and people have been praising Neon Demon for like 2 years, telling me to watch it, and I've had it on the watch list, and I just can't pull the trigger. So, I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for the question, Avocado Balls Johnson. James Doshier in here. How's it going, James, man? Thanks for joining. Thanks all of you for joining. Thank you guys for joining. I do mean that. I know I joke around. I know I'm witty and funny. And by witty and funny, I know I'm a douchebag making bad jokes about movies. But I thank you for joining me nevertheless. But if you guys really do want to help me, can you guys all cash at me $55? No, I'm kidding. Can you just give the video a like? One like, that's all I ask. One like. Just click that digital thumb, baby. Make me feel good. All right. But no, in all seriousness, thank you guys for joining. All right. On your Friday night. Matt Logan has become a member. Hell yes, Matt. Thank you so much, buddy. I love you. I love you. Kevin Meredith says, I drink the sour pink lemonade. It's good. I didn't see that. They just had the blue raspberry. And it's one of those nights where I just need a caffeinated beverage. I'm not going to lie, you guys give me energy, but this gives me a little bit more. All right. The next one comes from Anthony, who says, John, where are all the good crime, gritty dramas from the 70s, 80s, and 90s? I watched Carlito's Way the other night, and all I could think about is where the fuck are these kinds of movies? You just don't see them anymore. I mean, we still get gritty crime dramas every once in a while. We do. And over the years, we've had some. Now, you know, it's questionable if you love it or hate it, but we've had some. But man, I know what you're saying. You know, I love the film noir vibe of the 70s with movies like Taxi Driver, you know. And we do get some gritty crime dramas. We do. And I know this is like a very commercialized one. But speaking of Taxi Driver, we'd go with the modern day sort of loosey-goosey copy and paste that someone borrowed the concept from. But nevertheless, I like it. But that's sort of reminiscent to Taxi Driver. But I get what you're saying exactly. And I'm hard-pressed to think of some very recent crime dramas that really blew me away, that were like super gritty. My brain keeps going back to the 90s. You're right. Early 2000s, there might be some Fincher movies. Yeah, what are some really good recent crime dramas? Let's see. Best gritty crime dramas last 10 years. Let's see what we have here. All right. Oh, God. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. Someone put... Someone put, come on, The Guilty on there. Okay. Good Time. Good Time was a good crime drama. I think that was good. Yeah, these are all like, someone put like all these B-rate movies on there, like Mystery Road, Trespass Against Us, Killer Man, Night Walk, Blue Lights. What the hell are these movies? Shot Caller was great. Yeah, Prisoners. Yes. Okay, thank you guys. My brain is melted today. You guys are going to have to help me out. Yes, Prisoners, but you got to think Prisoners was what, 2013? So that was 12 years ago. Den of Thieves. I have the Den of Thieves movies back there. I've never sat down and watched I've never seen Den of Thieves 2. And I think I've seen the majority of Den of Thieves 1, but it just felt like such a B-rate DVD version of Heat. It really did. I'm not trying to crap on it. When it comes to certain genres of movies, I'm very particular on those genres. And when it comes to heist movies, I'm just particular on what I compare heist movies to movies like Point Break or The Town or Heat, you know, those are like my comparisons. So when movies aren't even in that universe, I'm like, I don't care. But maybe I should sit down and watch Den of Thieves. I don't know. I think that was at a time where I was just sort of over Gerard Butler. You know what I mean? Casino's a great crime drama from 95. Love it. That's where I first had my boy crush on Sharon Stone. Actually, that's a lie. It was Basic Instinct. Actually, that's a lie. It was Total Recall. But all of those are true. Uncut Gems, another gritty classic, yes. Gritty action movie. I mean, would we go so far as to say the Batman is gritty? Nah, PG-13? I don't know. Wait, what's the Bat? Yeah, it was PG. For some reason, for 2 seconds, I was like, was it rated R? And I was like, no, it should have been. So yeah, someone said Casino Mulholland Drive, but we're going really early 2000s there. And even mid-90s. Oh, Scarface from the early 80s. Listen, I implore you guys. I go back once every couple years and I watch Scarface. And I love that movie. And it's one of those movies I've grown to love even more every time I watch it. And I know it's sort of cliche. Oh, I love Scarface, and get the poster on your wall and act like you're cool. But no. The first time I watched Scarface was in high school. And I couldn't quite pinpoint what I loved about it. But going back and watching it, it feels like you're thrown back into a completely other time period. Like everything is so of the period. It's just so blatant, and I love it. I love the suits. I love the cars with the cheetah print. I love the way it looks. I love the aesthetics. You know, the only thing missing from truly capturing that 1980s Miami drug dealing backdrop is like, I want the smell. You know, what did it smell like? That's what I wonder. Like cheap cologne and blow and cigarettes. I don't know. But so go back and watch Scarface in 4K. It is such a vivid experience. It really is. Yeah, I want something like that. That could never be duplicated or replicated. It just couldn't. Hey, Ma, her womb is so polluted, she can't even have a little baby, Ma. Come on. Fly, but I can fly. Those are my Tony Montana impressions. I know they're not good. Just let me have this. All right. Hey, Frank. Sorry, that's the last one. I'm embarrassed. Okay. Next one here comes from Cup of Joe Media, who says, John, have you seen the trailer for Havoc starring Tom Hardy? Directed by Raid's Gareth Evans. Been waiting 4 years for this damn movie. I did see the trailer. That's coming to Apple TV. Is it not coming to Apple TV? I think. I kind of just thought the trailer was okay. I didn't really hyper focus on it. It was one of those trailers I watched on like TikTok when I opened my eyes one morning. And I remember there was like a lot of fast cuts with the screen going black or something like that. That's vague. And Tom Hardy's walking like this. You know, that's how he walks. That's what I remember from that trailer. So I guess I didn't pick up a lot of the plot, man. I'm sorry. I'll definitely check it out. I love me some Tom Hardy. I will watch it. Was that delayed? Was that delayed for 4 years, sitting on a shelf, or did the pre-production just take that long? Somebody let me know. Alan Smithy says Honora was hardcore crime drama. It was definitely hardcore. Bill Murray says 7. Oh yeah, 7 for sure, man. I mean, everything Fincher has made is sort of a gritty crime drama, except for The Social Network, you know? Speaking of that, I saw the first trailer last night in the theater for Mickey 17 for the upcoming Brad Pitt movie called F1. And it's, hang on. Yeah, and it's directed by Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun. And that's pretty much what got me most excited for this movie, because I know that guy's in demand in Hollywood right now when it comes to action movies, because he knows how to direct the shit out of an action movie. So that's what gets me most excited about F1. It feels like it'll be that visceral experience of sitting inside of a race car going however fast. What are these Formula One race cars go? I don't know. 200 miles per hour plus. Couldn't tell you. They go really fast. And I'm looking forward to that intensity, man, because if he can just duplicate what he did in the fighter jet cockpit with Tom Cruise a couple years ago, if he can just duplicate half of that into a race car and Brad Pitt's at the wheel, give it to me now. I'm ready for it. But I will say this about the trailer. It had the most abrupt ending of any trailer I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Because the music's building, and you're like, okay, cool, they're going to show a couple more clips. Boop, ends. And you're like, oh. And then there's this really awkward silence in the theater where everyone's like They get it. We understand marketing. It was kind of a cool ending cut that gets your attention, but it just leaves everyone in the audience or at the theater watching it feeling so awkward because you could just hear everyone like eating their popcorn because there was loud race cars on the screen, and you just tell people are fucking munching and drinking, and then it cuts and you just hear everyone go. It's great. But anyway, did I answer your question? I may have. All right, let's go to the next one here. Okay, here it is. Max Nugenbauer, how's it going, buddy? And Max says, I thought Captain America, Brave New World was entertaining, but it was not great like it was supposed to be. Please don't be boring was an awful line. Yeah, well, there was a lot of awful lines and a lot of awful storytelling and a lot of awful directing and a lot of awful acting and a lot of awful ideas in that movie. And really, at the end of the day, rather than talk crap about it all night, I'll just talk crap about it for the next 10 seconds. Completely unnecessary movie that does not matter in the grand scheme of anything, and if anything, it felt like an obligation because they had to make one Sam Wilson Captain America movie. And done. Okay, let's go to the next one. But with all that said, if it was a cool, badass, throwback, 90s feel action movie vibe, maybe like John McTiernan comes back and directs it or something. Is he still alive? I think he is, right? If not, he could be resurrected to direct it. And that would have been cool. Like, okay, you made a nice throwback action movie that feels like it's from the 90s. At least give it a tone, man. Nah. All right, let's go to the next one here. Did we answered this? Oh, okay, let's answer this one here. Ideal Wrestling says, thoughts on Celsius energy drinks, Muscle Man? I love them. Feel like I have less chance of dying compared to the others. That's awesome. Yeah, I like Celsius. I bought them for a while. And the thing about them are they're the cheaper option out of all the energy drinks up on the shelf. And that's cool. I think they taste good. I never really felt all that energetic drinking them. And I think what they do, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they skip out on one of the main active ingredients that really give energy drinks energy. And I think is it beta-alanine that they skip out on? Because I used to take more pre-workout than you should give a horse before its heart explodes. So I remember beta-alanine was sort of one of the main ingredients in that. Is it taurine? It's one of these ingredients that Celsius does not have, and all the other energy drinks do. So I think that's something they skip out on. Did someone say John McTiernan was in prison? What? What? Anyway. Okay, the next one comes from, but I did like them. Connor Berger says, been a fan of yours for years. Your vlogs have provided endless entertainment throughout the years. Thanks for all you do. Well, thanks, Connor, man. Thanks for that, buddy. I always love when I hear something from a viewer from 10, 15 years ago, and it's so surreal to me. It really is. It's weird that, like, somebody has watched me for 15 years on the internet, casually in the background, what have you. I don't know, but I think that is cool to me. That's one of the coolest things I can say I've done with my life is when somebody was jerking off, my video may have been playing in the background. And you know what? That makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, but not as warm and fuzzy as that tube sock was feeling when you watched me back in 2012 in the distance. No, but thank you for that, man. In all seriousness, thank you so much. Someone's getting in a debate about someone going to prison. John McTiernan in prison. Did he kill someone with a car? What did he do? All right. More Scarface impressions. I think I'm tapped out for the night. Maybe tapped out for life. All right. The next one comes from Rocky, who says, hey, John, Last Breath was so good. Yeah, I talked about that on the last live show. I even uploaded a clip. And by the way, quick update. Every live show, I'm going to upload a few clips from the live show. It might be 1 clip, 2, 3, 4, I don't know. But I'm going to try to upload clips from the live shows, or at least the more topical segments that we talk about. So if sometimes you missed a live show, look out for clips being uploaded. It'll say Flick Clip up in the corner. Get it? Flick Clip. Sounded catchy when I made it at 3 o'clock in the morning, but look out for those. All right, let's block this. Oh my God. Okay, robot, sex worker, let me block you. Oh God, hang on. Here we go. Let's hide on this channel. Now go to hell for your sins against humanity. Okay, there we go. Tiffany Rose, you filthy, filthy digital whore, you. All right, let's go to the next one here. She was selling something. I didn't want you guys clicking that link. It wasn't what you wanted. It was a virus. All right, let's go to the next one here. Oh, speaking of Last Breath, but I did upload a clip for it. Sorry, I got off topic there. Someone was spamming the chat, and we can't have that. I blocked her, and she went straight to hell. So I loved Last Breath. I think that was one of the most intense, compelling movies I've seen in the last few months. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year, that and Companion. And if you haven't seen Last Breath, I praised it on the last live show. If you missed that, go check it out. We watched the Academy Awards together. I thought it was so intense. And when it comes to the survival genre of movies, over the years, it has become one of my favorite genres. Whenever there's an upcoming survival movie that's going to be well made, it's always going to be one of my more anticipated movies. Over the years, movies like Fall, say what you will about the movie Fall, I love that shit. That's the kind of survival movie I love to watch. Just makes your palms sweaty. But when it comes to Last Breath, it's actually based on a true story, and it's terrifying. There are jobs and occupations that exist on this planet that I just could never see myself doing, nor do I ever want to do, because I'm not man enough to do them. And going deep sea diving in that dark, murky ocean, no, that's not a job I would ever do. I don't think I would get through 2 days of doing it. My heart would explode and I would be eaten by a squid or something. I don't know. So if you haven't seen Last Breath, I highly recommend checking it out. It's almost a panic attack rather than a movie, but sometimes that's good as you're eating popcorn. So, all right. Did I get rid of the bot? Is the stupid bot gone? Okay. All good? Are we safe? Okay. Manuel says he liked Fall. Yeah, man. Fall's a great movie. I think it's super underrated, and I can't wait for the sequel. All right, the next one comes from... And by the way, guys, I'm going to talk way quicker, but we're 32 minutes behind, so let's talk fast. Hey, John. YouTube is overpriced. I'm writing a message in the normal chat. Please read it. I became a member, you bastard. I know YouTube is overpriced, man. Hey, I always save a huge section at the end of the live show for YouTube members. So if I'm missing you in the chat over here, don't worry, I'm gonna get to you. But go ahead and type away right now. I'm gonna try to get to those questions as well. I'm just talking too much. Sorry. Roger something says Sicario is pretty good crime thriller. That's going way back. Yeah, it is. Sicario 2, okay, rainy day movie. Weren't they going to make a Sicario 3? Wasn't that in the works or something? All right, the next one comes from Batman11C, who says, Happy Friday, John. Shout out from Staten Island, New York. You want menthols? A regular. Sorry, was that offensive? I'm sorry. My question to you, now that Batman Forever turns 30 this June, has your thoughts changed about the movie, and would you be interested in viewing the Schumacher cut? What? Sorry, I'm talking like a robot. John is... Okay, let me read this. No, I would not. No, actually, I would. I wouldn't mind watching Batman Forever again. I would not mind watching it, but I can't watch it alone. I'm going to need a group of people around me. Like if Batman Forever was released in theaters again and the object was to go there and laugh at it and have a good time and maybe dress like Val Kilmer or dress like, I don't know, the Riddler, that'd be good too, but I would go to that event. So yeah, I'd watch the Schumacher cut. Is that a thing? Did they make a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever or is that a blatant lie? I don't know. John, did you watch Shelby Oaks? No, I have not. I don't know. I know as much about it as you guys do. I do want to check it out, man. So I would imagine it's probably coming out this fall, if I had to guess. And Batman 11C, thank you so much for the question, man. Thank you so much again for that question. Your question made both my bat nips hard. You can either have Val Kilmer hard nipples or George Clooney hard bat nipples. That's up to you. I think George Clooney's got a little bit harder though in that later installment. I'm just putting it out there. Maybe it was because Mr. Freeze was the villain. I don't know. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says favorite Simpsons episode, Johnny Tightlips. Thank you for that. That's what we used to call your mom back in the 80s. I'm hard pressed to pick just one favorite Simpsons episode. There's so many moments from The Simpsons that I loved. Like everything Krusty the Clown, I always morbidly enjoyed for some reason. Itchy and Scratchy was good. There is a clip, and I've talked about this probably before. And I remember as a kid, this is what defined my style of comedy. There's an Itchy and Scratchy episode from an episode of The Simpsons where Elvis is sitting on the couch and he just randomly shoots the TV at the end of the episode and he goes, "Oh yeah." And the TV explodes and it's just the most random sequence of events I've ever seen. And as a kid, I've always thought that was the most hilarious thing. It exists on YouTube. I know I went back and watched it. But that always stood out to me. And now we're at a point where I don't know anyone who watches The Simpsons. Though they're on like their 97th season, they're still making episodes. They cost a lot of money. They're on network TV. I don't know anyone who watches The Simpsons or who has referenced The Simpsons other than you. Isn't that like who's watching it? I don't know. Do you know anyone who watches it? Let me know. All right, the next one comes from James Dozier, who has been a member for 40 months. Well, thanks, James. Yay! Thanks for that, man. Upshot Music TV says, "Hey, John, I just got married last week." Well, congratulations to you, buddy. Welcome to the club. And it's not necessarily like the funnest club, but hey, we're in it together, so high five. All right, here we go. My wife and I walked the aisle to Arrival to Earth from Transformers and the wardrobe from Narnia. Oh, that's all. Okay, I was trying to pick up on where the wardrobe thing was going there. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the Transformers it's very ethereal, isn't it? You guys walked the aisle to that? That's beautiful, man. Congratulations. At my wedding, we walked the aisle. Well, when I walked down by myself, I played the Imperial March, the Star Wars, or the piano version. And that got a good chuckle. And then I should have worn a cape. I wanted a cape and a lightsaber, but everyone said it was too far. And I said, okay, fine. And then all of our wedding party walked down to the Jurassic Park theme piano version. And my wife walked down the aisle to the theme song to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from the early 90s starring Kevin Costner, which I just love that movie and I love the theme song. So it's Bryan Adams. It's good stuff, man. And she walked down to the piano version of that, and it was really cool. So congrats to you, though. Asher56 says, "Stopped plowing my wife for this, and I came faster." Yes, figuratively and literally. And I thank you for that. And I thank her for that. And I thank both of you for that. So thanks for watching, man. Nike 01, you guys are the best. I wouldn't give you up for anything. You guys have the best questions and comments, I swear. William says, people forgot John gave me all his Blu-rays. What do you mean by that, William? What does that mean? I'm trying to think back. Did I meet you on the side of the street and just give you Blu-rays? Steve Goldie says, Shelby Oaks' theatrical release date is August 22nd, 2025. I'm hoping Stuckman will invite John to the premiere and he will vlog the experience for us. Oh, so is that when he's doing his, like, is that the theatrical release for, like, GoFundMe supporters or an actual wide theatrical release? Or for everyone, I mean by, like, general audiences. I'll definitely check it out. So, yeah, fall. I had a good feeling it was fall, spring, or not spring. Spring's in the next month. Let's go to the next question. The next one comes from Night King 01, who says, John, I watched Pain and Gain with some friends over the weekend, and I'm conflicted. Well, of course you are. Let's continue. The Rock is amazing in it, but the movie is so tone deaf it almost ruins it. We just kept laughing at how ridiculous all the Michael Bay-isms. Well, the thing about Michael Bay is he's tone deaf. He's on the spectrum. He has the comedy stylings of an 11-year-old boy who just discovered firecrackers. You know, he likes poopy jokes. He likes dogs pooping on things or robots saying, ebonics, you know? So that's Michael Bay humor. And you have to understand that. So whenever you make a movie based on this dark, serious crime drama and you make it into a Michael Bay action-packed comedy movie, you have to understand the tone was already deaf. Okay? Because Michael Bay blew its eardrums out of its head and now it's leaking down the side of its cheeks. If anything, a movie like Pain and Gain, the tone should have been completely and radically different. Rather than have this big Michael Bay oversaturated movie that's action-packed and tone-deaf and makes jokes for 9-year-old boys, they should have had something more in the lines of something like Fargo. Like with William H. Macy. Oh, don't you know? I done told you it's not here. Oh, come on, big feller. It should have been like that. It should have been like this bleak, dark comedy crime drama that was treated with respect. You know, that's what I think it should have been like. Bruce Cook says, I thought the only thing Michael Bay liked are explosions. Well, yes, and young girls covered in baby oil. With bright lights always shining at them. All right, the next one comes from Daniel Martin, who says, John, do you get tired of Hollywood's obsession with Trump? From Captain America 4 to Mickey 17, Mark Ruffalo's performance took me right out of the film. Yeah, it just becomes like distracting. Rather than play this character, you're doing a parody of some eccentric, well, he's not some eccentric guy, he's our president now, our eccentric president. And it's like the gag gets old really quick. It's like watching an SNL skit that goes on for 2 hours sometimes. And it just feels like that, an impression. You know, it's like, who are we placating to with this? Oh, haha, that's funny. Like, the joke sort of gets stale very quick. So I absolutely am picking up what you're putting down. If you could watch one movie in a theater that you first saw at home or came out before your time, which film are you choosing? I get that question quite often, and I feel like sometimes I switch up the answer, but more or less, I go back to the cultural experience that the movie's going to offer. An experience where I want to be in the cinema and smell everyone's muss, you know? So I said Star Wars. I can't imagine being in like Los Angeles opening night to watch Star Wars up at the big screen because people have never seen something like that before, you know? That would be kind of cool. we had some last week said Back to the Future, and I could, like, I'm watching Back to the Future for the first time back in the 80s at something like a drive-in theater with your friends, and that's up on the big screen. Oh, that would be so awesome. That would be a memory that you could savor for the rest of your life. Or at least I know I would. So, yeah, I would probably go with one of those two. I really would. Definitely some 80s, late 70s movie, you know? Or go back to the theater and experience the 1970s documentary movie Deep Throat. That'd be fun to watch in New York City, huh? All the creeps in that theater sitting beside you. I'd love it. All right. A few more questions in here. Bruce Cook says, oh, we already answered that one. All right. The next one comes from Quinn Udi, who says, have you ever met John Campea in person? I've never met John Campea. I've met many people who have met John Campea, never met the guy. But I do want to say, I feel like I did see him at a screening of the movie Split when I was in Los Angeles and I was shooting some stuff for Screen Junkies. And I think the Collider crew, I went with the Screen Junkies guys to the screening. And I remember sitting beside Dan Murrow. We sat side by side. So that's kind of cool. But I think the Collider guys were up above us, and I just saw them from a distance. So, never met them. The next one comes from Jake Tamman, who says, sup, John. Washington from Clemson, South Carolina came across your Avengers 1 review with Stuckman. I rewatched the film, and man, does it still hold up. Back when Marvel cared to make any... Do you have any updated thoughts on this? How's it going in Clemson, South Carolina, man? I used to live right by you in Greenville. Avengers 1 review. I don't even remember shooting that. I really don't. I don't remember anything about shooting that video with Stuckman, the first one. Did I? Maybe I did. So when it comes to the first Avengers, you go back at this point with the current MCU, and I think you can't help but appreciate it more than you ever have. Going back, it's just pure entertainment. It's fun. It's everything a comic book movie should be. And for me, it does hold up in that regard. It's pure. It's unadulterated. It's a lot of fun. You know, there's the little things and tweaks that maybe, for me, I think Josh Whedon, he kind of directs movies like a big budget TV episode, in my opinion, sometimes. And maybe that's I think that comes across like a negative, but that's what I see sometimes, especially when he does his Dutch angles and some of his sets in his movies, like the Avengers. At times, it looks like a TV show with more money thrown at it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I think that's because Joss Whedon came from the TV series Firefly, and he worked on Buffy, and maybe his TV background is so heavy that that's kind of how he can't help but make movies look like that sometimes. But I always noticed that about the first Avengers. That's my only real negative critique with that. But all the jokes, I enjoyed just the purity of what the superheroes are doing. You know, they didn't all feel like they could just do everything and anything to some degree. Like Hawkeye was shooting arrows and he runs out of arrows. You know, like, I like that. Little things like that. It just, I miss it more now than I ever have. And I appreciate it more now than I ever have. So I think it does hold up. Jimmy Shoes, didn't you post a pic on Twitter recently about the Avengers review? Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry, man. I know. Okay, I got what you're saying here. So yeah, on Twitter, I did post a picture, but that was not an Avengers review. No. So it was myself, Stuckman, Christian Harloff, Jeremy Johns, and Mark Ellis, and we were all sitting at these chairs doing sort of a parody skit of the after credit scene in Avengers where they eat shawarma. That was for the U Reviewers annual award show back in 2012. Where I just hosted a few segments. We hung out, talk about movies, and we give awards away to our picks that year. So that's what that video was. Sorry, I was confused on that. Okay. But yeah, that picture is on my my Twitter if you want to check it out. I was just feeling nostalgic when I saw that picture, and I sort of forgot it existed. And it was such a pure time in YouTube back in 2012. You know, it's so long ago that it doesn't feel real anymore. But anyway, I consider 2012 to like 2016 sort of the golden age of YouTube movie talk and YouTube channels. And if you have a newer channel, I'm not trying to shit on you, but this is just my golden age, right? This was a time of purity. It didn't get too convoluted. It wasn't too saturated. Did I say convoluted? And it was just a time where I felt like growth was upon everyone. You know, you could do no wrong. Everything that you did was new and fresh, you know, and there wasn't a billion other variations of that same thing. And there wasn't these small companies who have teams of 40 people who make YouTube videos every day. It was just dudes in a room talking about things. And so that's why I consider that the golden age, or at least my golden age. And I miss it, man. All right, so yeah, that's what that picture's about. All right, the next one comes from Movies Are Live, who says, what movies represent your real ideal life? What movies, like, do I want to live in? Like that version of life? Or what movies sort of represent my life? Those are all tough questions that take a lot of profound thought. So I'll give you this answer. If I could pick any version of life, I've always, and I don't know, maybe a movie off the very top of my head. There's a few that I could sort of pinpoint, but my version of life was always the 90s sitcoms with families. Like Boy Meets World, Home Improvement. Like, that always seemed like the idyllic version of a life I would want to live in. There's a little drama, nothing too heavy. Life is good. You know, you can pay your bills and have some fun. You know, and I always thought that would be the perfect life. And growing up, if I had to pick one show that was reminiscent to my real life, maybe the closest representation, but just a little more padded, was something like Roseanne. Very middle, lower class family. They used humor as a way to connect and show that they cared for each other, and they could take insults, and that's how I grew up. If you take the show Roseanne, that is sort of my childhood. Sort of, yeah. If Roseanne was just a little more hardcore at times, though, I'll put it that way. All right. Bruce Cook says, how about Malcolm in the Middle? Yeah, that also would be kind of a cool representation of my family, how wacky and weird it is and just chaotic. Yeah, that'd be a slight representation. Would I want to live in that reality? Absolutely not. Do I think it'd be cool to have two other brothers Dewey was a complete psychopath and his older brother was a psychopath. But going back and watching Malcolm in the Middle with Dewey, that kid is comedic genius. You couldn't find another Dewey. That pure evil. And Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle always reminded me of Stewie from Family Guy. Alan Smithy says, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I review movies while also testing out hot tubs of various brands. Well, that's quite the blend, man. That is interesting. Dude, can I give you some advice? I'm going to give you $1 million idea right now. And if you're already doing this, okay, sorry. But if you're not, this is the best advice someone's ever going to give you. If you're doing reviews of movies and hot tubs, do reviews of movies while in a hot tub. $1 million idea. I'm jealous it's not my YouTube channel. So let me put these glasses on now. All right. The next one comes from Jason. How's it going, Jason? Hey, John. I missed you. It's been a long time. You're my favorite person in the world. Hugs and kisses, Jason. Well, Jason, hugs and kisses to you too, man. Hugs and kisses to you too. Mwah! There you go, Jason. Right there. Put that where you want it. Thanks, man. Quinn Itty says, pros and cons of working at a movie theater. Well, I'll tell you. So many years ago, while I was in college, I worked at a movie theater, and I worked there afterwards as well. And I wanted to be a manager at said movie theater, so I had to work through up into that position. I never got to that position because it just simply wasn't worth my time. And by that point, I had grown out of the movie theater business. I'd rather just come and visit. I don't want to stay here. So I was an usher, and I also worked the register at the concession stand. And the concession stand job is the worst job in the movie theater. Because keep in mind, this is back in the early mid 2000s when people still went to movie theaters. And I vividly remember this while working at the movie theater. I remember the opening of one of the Twilight movies. I couldn't tell you which one. I don't give a shit, nor will I ever give a shit. But this is when the fandom was just to the tipping point of being disgusting. You know what? It was disgusting. I hated it. And opening night, there was 9 million teenage squealing girls running around the lobby, just lining up, getting every snack you could think of. Nachos, chips, hot dogs, you name it. And I remember they all had t-shirts on that said Team Jacob or Team Edward, and I just wanted to take the hot butter and just dump it on all their heads and just watch them scream in agony. But I remember that about the movie theater. But I hated working concessions. I really did. Other than stealing concessions for myself, I hated working in them. And by the way, my best advice I can ever give you guys on this channel, now and forever, never, ever eat a movie theater hot dog. Don't do it. Especially if they're not up front on the little cart that makes them spin back and forth to keep them all hot, plump, and juicy. If someone goes in the back to grab you food from the movie theater and then they come back to hand it to you, do not eat it. I'm just trying to save your life, man. Don't say I never tried. So anyway, another thing about the movie theater that I enjoyed while working there was being an usher. Now, the usher just walks around the theater all night, cleans up popcorn spills. When a movie's over, you go in and clean the theater out. And the way I know the movie's over is because at the beginning of the night, I get a run sheet of all the movies' end times and which theater they're in. So I kind of have to run around and do that. Other than that, I pretend like I'm busy in the aisle or the hallways in the movie theater. So whenever a movie was over, I'd go in there and listen. Okay, you guys know I'm a good guy. I care about you. I do. But also, when it comes to places of employment, I'm a dubious, lazy piece of shit. So, with all that said, I'd go clean out the theater in probably 3.5 minutes. You're talking about a 300-person theater that was just packed, and I could clean that shit in under 5 minutes flat. I would take everything and wedge it under the seats in the theater, right to the back. Now, if someone had a big popcorn bucket or a drink, I'd throw it in the trash. And I'd clean up a few popcorn spills on the stairs. Other than that, everything went between the seats and under them. That's where all the trash was. So if you would look down, you'd probably see piles of trash. Now, listen. This story has a happy ending, okay? Every night, they would have real cleaning professionals or janitors come in and actually clean out the theater with like an air blower and huge sweepers and stuff, and they'd suck all that trash out. So, I don't know. What would you have done in that situation? Was it ethical? Was it not ethical? I didn't care. I was getting paid like 3 nickels an hour. But the best thing about working at a movie theater was the free movies. So I could see unlimited free movies with my friends anytime. That was one cool perk. I think I got a discount on concessions, or I could get a free popcorn if I walked in, if I brought my own bucket. And here's 3 cents of popcorn. Thanks for working here. Oh, thank you. But the other cool perk, though, even going back to being an usher, one other cool perk with that job was there's always downtime in between when those movies were getting over and when I had anything to do. And keep in mind, I had a walkie-talkie and an earpiece, so I could hear all of the management and everyone in the building. So if my manager or somebody else was walking around, I kind of knew where they were at. and I use that to my advantage. So I would go in, sit down with my broom and my full get up from the movie theater. And by the way, I worked at Regal Theaters. I would just sit there and watch the movie in the front row. And if someone said, John, popcorn spill aisle 5, I'd get up and go clean it like a little bitch. But until that point, I would just be hiding in the theater watching movies and getting paid for it. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So those were some of my takeaways from working at the movie theater many, many years ago. All right. The next one comes from JR, who says, John, what alcohol do you like to drink? I like to drink Jack Daniels and Coke Zero or Dr. Pepper. I like mixed drinks. I do. I don't like just pure alcohol. Just kind of gets gross. I want a little carbonation with it. And speaking of carbonation, I'll take a little right here. So yeah, that's sort of my go-to, man. The next one comes from Jason, who says, do you think AI is going to take out actors in movies? Not anytime soon. I think you're going to see it implemented quite often, but I don't think it's going to take over anytime soon. I think Hollywood and society know better than that, and you have to keep in mind that the movies that are released theatrically, these are owned by corporations and studios, and it would be to their demise to start theatrically releasing and promoting 100% AI movies. Because then we get to the point where you no longer need the studio system to create AI generated movies, when at some point we're going to be able to do that at home on our desktop. And the other interesting thing about all that is maybe it's 10 years away, maybe it's 20 years away, maybe it's 6 months away. I don't know. It's probably a bit longer than that. But at some point, you are literally going to be able to type in the prompts that you want, and it's going to shit out an AI generated feature length movie. It's going to do that one day. And then during that movie, you can go back in and tweak it and edit the prompts and get it just right. Or you could copy and paste a novel that you love into ChatGPT AI, and you get whatever movie you want brought to live action from the book. It's going to get scary. It really is. And the question is, if everyone can create their own movies, why would anyone go watch a movie at the movie theater? Why would I watch your movie when I can just make my own movie? I mean, don't get me wrong. Out of morbid curiosity, there's a lot of movies of other people I'd probably watch, but I wouldn't pay to do it. So I think AI eventually will be the demise of all cinema. It'll be useful at first. Eventually, we'll get AI movies, and then eventually, once everyone can manipulate and use the technology and control it, then it's game over. So yes, those are my thoughts. Bruce Cook says, did you ever throw anyone out of the theater? Yeah, you know what? If people were talking... Now listen, I'm just some skinny kid who works at the movie theater, okay? What am I going to do? Walk up to you like I'm Rambo or Steven Seagal and scissor kick you in the back of the head? Even though I wanted to. I would. If people were talking, absolutely. Like, if someone complained, I would take it serious. Very serious. And we did have a police officer who worked at the theater as a security guard, but he didn't really do much. He would just walk in if someone was talking and kind of like sit at the edge of the theater. And if they kept talking, he wouldn't intervene. He would just still stand there. But so yeah, I would tell on people talking, because that's a sin against cinema. It really is. John, speaking of AI, have you seen any of the YouTube movie clips ruined by AI? The one for Jurassic Park is hilarious. Not specifically, but maybe. I do watch some AI clips every once in a while. All right, the next one comes from... It's going to come from Bastiel, who says, root beer for life. Brother, by the way, there is a new WCW YouTube channel from WWE. Check it out. Greetings from Germany. Oh, that's cool. My least favorite wrestling company of all time was WCW. I just never connected to it, never loved it. But that's cool that they finally got a YouTube channel. Quinn Udi says, who plays John in Flickpick Biopic movie? Yeah, who would play me in a biopic movie? You know, I actually had one guy in mind for this. Hang on. I always forget his name. Well, maybe this isn't a good choice anymore now that I'm looking at him. I was going to say Kyle Gallner. He sort of kind of looks like, when I watched him in Strange Darling with his hair, I was like, I could kind of see that. I could see me in there a little bit, you know, being chased by some crazy lady down the highway. But I don't know. You guys tell me, who could play me in a biopic? Many years ago, you would have said Biff Tannen. Yeah, I think this is the one that always, this would make the most sense. Manuel says Morgan Freeman. And you know what? I can see the resemblance. There it is. John looks like Bobby Flay. Sam Witwer? Yeah, I'll go with Morgan Freeman. James Franco? That's kind of insulting. I'll take it. All right, the next one comes from Roberto Lima, who says, have you been in touch with Stuckman? Maybe like a year ago, we talked once. Hey, man, how you doing? Hey, what's up? And then he had to ask. He had something he needed to ask me, and that's what the call was, relating to taxes. Yeah. Alex Guzman says, I've been rewatching your old content, and bro, you were unhinged back in the day. It reminded me of why you became one of my faves. Oh shit, which video was that? You know what? I've done a lot of soul searching over the years and a lot of introspective thinking. And my brain simply and truly was not developed in the beginning stages of my YouTube career, because I look back at some of the things I did, and though I think there are some comedic gold moments in those, if I do say so myself, or I can pat myself on the back, man, oh man, there's some shit in there where it's just like, it was a different time, and my brain was a bit more squishy. You know, that's the best way I can define it. But I'm glad they exist on the internet for everyone to see. Roger something says, Scarlett Johansson, yes. Just shave her head. She'll look like me from a distance. The next one comes from Alex Guzman, who says, I've been rewatching your old content and... Oh, we already answered that. Sorry. The next one comes from Nick Gibson. Let me take off these glasses. Hey, John. Have you ever watched Pink Flamingos? I watched it for the first time last week and felt like I needed to take a shower afterwards. My sisters, when I was younger, I remember them watching that and sort of telling me about it. Was that a John Walters film or something like that? I've never seen it. I know it's weird and bizarre. Are there cross dressers in that movie or something like that? I don't know. I've never seen it. I know it's crazy. All right, Austin, you want Austin Butler to play me in a biopic? I don't sound like Elvis. I'm sorry. And I know he doesn't sound like Elvis either. But ever since playing Elvis, he keeps the persona up, man. I never saw Thunderheart from 1992. Never saw it. I did like The Saint from 1990. Was that 95 or 96? I always thought that was sort of an underrated spy movie. Have you guys ever seen The Saint starring Val Kilmer? He basically plays this spy who does multiple disguises throughout the movie, and they're all so comedic. He comes across like an SNL character for every one, and that's not true, but it kind of is. And there's one where he plays a very flamboyant man in an airport, and I just remember he goes, "Oh, it's so early. Want to get some coffee or something?" I love it. All right. The next one comes from Jason once again. John, how do you feel about the character Peter Pan? And who's your favorite Nintendo character? How do I feel about Peter Pan? Well, listen, I have a little something I like to refer to as Peter Pan syndrome. It's not as bad as it sounds. I'm a little boy who never wants to grow up. Clearly, I get it. So I've always related to the character Peter Pan. If I could run away to Neverland, I absolutely would. I've always thought the character was interesting, but also kind of creepy if you really think about it. He wants to kidnap children to come back to his fantasy island. I don't know, sounds a little cult-like, even if it's for the best intentions, but these children never grow up. So Peter Pan was just out kidnapping children all night to hang out with. Kind of weird when you think about it, but nevertheless. So yeah, I love the character, and when it comes to Peter Pan, my mind instantly goes to the classic Hook, which many would say is the worst Steven Spielberg movie, but I love it. One of my top 10 childhood classics of all time. I hate Peter Pan. Gotta save Maggie, gotta save Jack. Hook is back. Okay, you rude, crude bag of pre-food chew dude. Let's go to the next question. Oh, and if I could be any Nintendo character, who would I be? Princess Peach. Don't ask questions. If I could be any Nintendo character, that's a good question. That deserves some thought. I won't just crap out an answer. Nintendo character. Star Fox would be kind of cool. You could fly a jet all day. That would be kind of cool. I don't want to be Luigi. I don't want to be a plumber. I don't want to be Mario. I don't want to live in that land, going down tubes and fighting turtles all day. Like, it would just get a bit repetitive. Plus, I don't like overalls. I'm not wearing that. No. I could be Donkey Kong. I don't know. How about, and I count this, I'm going to be Blanca from Street Fighter, damn it. That counts. I'm Blanca from Street Fighter. You can't take it away from me. Could I have been Ken? Probably. But I don't want to be. I want to be Blanca. So I'm Blanca. No, Sonic was Sega, man. You can't use that. It's no good. Oh, Link. Yeah, let's be Link. But then again, I don't want to be a little blonde boy with a sword. I think I want to be Blanca. I'm Blanca now. All right, let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Daniel Martin. How's it going, Daniel Martin? John, how much would it cost for you to John, how much would it cost for your elusive review of The Last Jedi? Then again, I think it's almost more legendary. Have never reviewed it and keep your thoughts a mystery. I guess I did forget to review The Last Jedi, didn't I? Yeah, so I obviously don't really like the movie. I mean, it was destroyed by becoming too meta. It did everything it shouldn't have. When Luke throws the lightsaber over his shoulder like it's a paperweight, I mean, it just destroys everything. It feels like a sketch or a parody at that point. And then I didn't think the storylines were all that captivating. I thought Snoke was sort of I was not looking forward to anything that they did with Snoke. He felt like such a filler bad guy villain to me. He just looks like a big hairy ball sack that's stretched out doing bad things because he's a bad guy. And then the thing I did appreciate, though, about The Last Jedi, do you like that I'm giving you this elusive review? Thank you so much for the question. Was I like that they killed him. I did. That was the one thing I thought was slightly riveting about The Last Jedi. When Snoke just gets chopped in half. Bye, you're boring, I don't care. But then you had the fight scene after that where they fight the Imperial Guards. And it kind of looked cool, but then it didn't. Like, the choreography looked really choppy and not well done for a Star Wars movie. So it was just such an underwhelming experience, but it followed the exact same formula most Star Wars movies do. And it ends with a big battle space sequence with, the AT-ATs and on the Diamond Planet or whatever the Rust Planet. I don't remember. And then don't little crystal foxes save them in the planet out of the mine and they escape? Yeah, so I just didn't like the movie all that much, man. I don't think it really did anything to help the series, the franchise, or propel anything. And also, there was one other thing I was going to say about that. Search Your Feelings. I think that's it. Okay. My rating for the Last Jedi, I give it a D+. All right. Avocado Balls Johnson says, S. Greg Zoller is a modern director who pays tribute to gritty 70s crime dramas. His new movie, Bookie the Bruiser, is coming out this year. Oh, that's kind of cool, man. Greg C. Zoller. Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's cool. I'd be curious to watch some of the trailers or see what that looks like. Okay. Sounds interesting. Pete Velasquez says, Chinatown with Jack Nicholson or Zodiac by Fincher. I've seen Chinatown once, and I know a lot of people love it. I don't think I was in love with it. I would definitely go with Zodiac by Fincher. I'm more of a Fincher fanboy. That's just me. And really, to be honest, Zodiac's not even one of my favorite Fincher movies. I'd much prefer something like Seven or Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Tyler Van says, are you excited for The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson? Not really. To keep it real with you, not really. Are you excited to watch Naked Gun with Liam Neeson? I don't know. Maybe it'll be funny. Maybe it'll be like the perfect tone of what it should be. Like it'll be a little less slapstick and maybe a little more action heavy. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So the more I think about it, maybe I am sort of looking forward to it, but for all the wrong reasons. But I will check it out. Upshot Music TV says, favorite current female WWE wrestler. I'm actually pumped for the WrestleMania matchup. Any thoughts on fighting with my family? Favorite WWE female wrestler? I like Bianca Belair when it comes to athleticism. She actually looks like she could kick your ass, and she moves in the ring, and she never really makes a mistake. The only thing I don't like about her is her promo skills and her character. I like Rhea Ripley, though I think she's sort of getting a little bit boring. I think Liv Morgan right now is like the standout as far as like playing a character who's psychotic and unhinged and really gives a good match most of the time. But also Io Sky, I think, gives a really good match, you know, and I think she's pretty awesome in the ring too. So I'm looking forward to the WrestleMania matchup. Hopefully she stays champion or doesn't, but I'm looking forward to it. Whatever it is. And Fighting with My Family, I have a review over on the Flickpick channel for that movie if you want to check it out. I liked it. I thought it was sort of forgettable, but I thought it was a fine little family comedy movie based on is it Paige? Yeah, Paige. Jason says, John, you missed 3 of my questions. Oh no, what happened? I got to, man. It's just taking a little bit longer. Hang on, guys. We're a little backed up on the questions. I'm sorry. I like to give you thought-provoking, informative answers. Okay. I'm getting to all the questions, man. Don't worry. Alan Smithy says, Hey, John, McTiernan paid a private investigator to illegally wiretap the producer of Rollerball, and he went to prison for lying about it to the feds. True story. Also, love your show. You are right. I remember this now. I vaguely remember this. Didn't he go for like a few months or something like that, or like 4 months, and it was like a very minimum security prison? It was almost like camp. But I do remember that. That is bizarre. Also, I forgot that rollerball existed. Yeah. That is true. I do recall this now. All right, the next one. Jason says, favorite witch in any movie? Alphaba from Wicked. I don't. Favorite witch? Oh, maybe I'd go with Bette Midler from. Would I go with Bette Midler? Ooh, let me think about this. That's a good question. Favorite witch? You had Endora. You had Ursula. These don't count. Ursula was not a witch. Gosh, we could go with the witches from the witch that were in the movie for 5 seconds at the end. I might go with Bette Midler from Hocus Pocus. Then you had the movie The Craft, which is sort of like a mid-90s sort of gothic, edgy movie about witches. Oh, the witches from 1990. That always creeped me out as a kid. What else do we have in here? Yeah, who is a witch that you guys like? You could watch Season of the Witch. That'd be good, right? We could watch The Blair Witch. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, Bruce says Hocus Pocus. Roger something says, I wish I could forget rollerblading existed. I never once went rollerblading. I don't think I could. All right, the next one comes from Avocado Balls Johnson, who says, the only thing worse than deep sea diving is cave diving. Have you seen YouTube documentaries about the famous cave diving disasters? Oh boy, have I. And first and foremost, the movie 13 Lives, which was based on a true story, happened in Taiwan? Yeah, Thailand, somewhere in Taiwan or Thailand or somewhere. Anyway, it was directed by Ron Howard, based on a true story. That movie is it's cave diving to save 13 kids trapped in this cave as it's flooding. That is some intense, horrific shit, and I love that movie. It's one of my favorite survival films of the last like 5-6 years. Recommend it if you've never seen it. If you like Last Breath, watch 13 Lives. Same intensity, man. So I do watch some documentaries time to time, and I do watch some like clips about stories where someone went spelunking or cave diving, and that is horrific to me. Why anyone would crawl through a rocky small crevice under the earth, I will never know. That is not one thing I want to say I did, nor do I care to. I just know I would die. That's it. I would die. I have great survival instincts, and I know enough not to do that. So yeah, I do watch those. Skylar Wheelock says, Star Wars used to feel like an event, and Disney commodified and stripped it of nearly everything that made it feel special. Amazon is going to do the same with James Bond. What was once a long-running theatrical franchise will now be commodified. Commodified. Interesting terminology. I like it. So, you're right. And the thing here is, when it comes to the Star Wars franchise, and we'll talk about the James Bond franchise for a second, it's just oversaturated at this point. I think Disney Plus was the biggest detriment to the MCU and Star Wars. We just got too much of it. And we got so much bad throughout. If it was all top tier, great series that captivated audiences, yeah, it would be alive and well, and that would be fine. We would love it. But it's bogged the franchise down so much where you almost lose faith in it. You lose that special magical feeling that you used to get when you see these characters. Now, every Disney Plus show that takes place with the Star Wars universe, you always see some cameo with R2-D2 in the background or something. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Why is he here? We don't know, you know? So I think it's oversaturation. I really do. And as far as the James Bond franchise goes, I think there could be a silver lining to this cloud. I really do. So for many years, the James Bond franchise sort of had a dictatorship on control and creativity. And maybe that was for all the best reasons, to keep the franchise pure and unadulterated and tainted maybe by Amazon, which they could bastardize this franchise. They really could. But now that it doesn't have any producers attached to it that can take Final Cut, the rumor and speculation for a long time now, and since Amazon owns it, it's a possibility, maybe like 3%. But Christopher Nolan, has wanted to direct a James Bond movie for a very long time, and one of the main reasons he never did was that old sort of dictatorship of the producers who were attached who would not give him Final Cut. And the rumor is, I don't know if this has been confirmed, but before he did Oppenheimer, he was willing to direct a James Bond movie, and that's one of the main reasons he didn't. So now if he can have Final Cut, and by the way, I think if you could trust anyone with final cut of your film, maybe it's one of the best working directors on the planet today. Just call me crazy. I would trust like a few people with the final cut of my film, and Nolan might be one of them. You know, it's like you're not risking much. So that is a possibility, and I would love to see it. I think Nolan directing a James Bond movie would really elevate the franchise and bring a lot of new eyeballs to it who may have given up on it or sort of got desensitized to it over the years. And plus, when you attach Nolan's name to anything, it's gonna have an audience that follows it, and maybe that would be the best catalyst to revamping a James Bond franchise. And I'm not saying Nolan has to direct every movie in a trilogy of it, but I would love if he directed at least one. 2 would be better. So, because we saw what he can do with a sequel like The Dark Knight. So, all right. Bruce Cook says, speaking of Star Wars going downhill, what do you think of Kathleen Kennedy leaving the scene? Sorry if you've already commented on this. I don't think specifically. Good. Get by. Don't let the door hit you on your ass on the way out. Bye. You've been here long enough. You're not really doing anything to elevate anything here. It's progressively gotten worse over the years, so we need new life. We need someone who's going to test some ideas and innovate some new concepts and really go back to what makes these films so great again. So, and that's not... Kathleen Kennedy has been a producer on a lot of great films since the 90s. I mean, she was a producer on Jurassic Park. So, you know, she's been attached to a lot of great projects or maybe... were the project's great and she got lucky when she was attached? I don't know. But I'm happy that she's gone and they can do something new with the Star Wars franchise. Even if it's worse, at least it'll be different, hopefully. All right, the next one comes from Silvio. How's it going, Silvio? Who has been a member for 20 glorious months. Says, love the channel. Well, thank you for that, man. All right. The next one comes from Claudio Rogajan, who says, as someone who was laying on the floor, also watching Pain and Gain, looking up the real story as the movie was unfolding, and finding out most of the movie is dead accurate to what happened, it made the movie so offensive. I can see why Wahlberg regretted it. Yeah, for sure, man. Especially the scene where they're outside grilling fingers. Oh, what a joke. What a funny gag. And no, they really did that. Ideal Wrestling says, John, love you. I've been watching for about 10 years now. One of my go-to people to put in the background and listen to after work. Thank you. Well, thank you for that. I was talking about people watching my videos in the background earlier, but they were doing something else. But thanks for that, man. Thank you so much. I love to be I love to be background noise in your life. You're listening to the soothing sounds of FlickPick Live at 11:18, and the weather outside is 75 Celsius. Actually, if that was 75 Celsius, wouldn't that be like 140 degrees? I don't know. That's why I'm not a weatherman. I just talk about movies, okay? But thanks for that. Night King 01. Back at it again, man. Have you ever seen the movie Rolling Thunder from 1977? It's basically the best Punisher movie ever made. I'm positive it directly inspired the Punisher, William Devane, and Tommy Lee Jones on a badass revenge quest. Man, oh man, you got... What the hell is this? Haven't we talked about this before? Rolling Thunder? Let's write that down. I'm going to write it down. Rolling Thunder, because I do want to see that. That sounds interesting. I'm sure, but you got to understand, man. Every movie in the 70s was about badass vigilantes. It just, like, Death Sentence or Death Wish, Taxi Driver, you know, Rolling Thunder. There was like a vigilante thing going on. I think it empowered middle class men to feel like strong, and that's what they wanted to see at the theater, you know? It was dangerous times back then, so maybe that's it. I couldn't tell you, but I will check it out. All right. And you had another one here. Yes, I know what you mean when you say the first Avengers looks like a TV movie or show. And I think it comes down to the lighting because it's so flat, the movie that it looks like a TV show. Yeah, you're right. You're on point with that. It is the lighting. It's not, there's not enough shadow. Everyone's overlit from every direction. And once again, I think that goes back to Joss Whedon's TV background. It's just you stand in front of a whole bunch of lights all pointed at you from every direction. Go. Maybe follow that same lighting pattern. I don't know. Saul says, what decade for movies do you prefer? 2020s or 2010s? If I had to pick one, I'm probably going to go back to the 2010s. I just think there's more classics in there. There's more movies I'd go back and want to revisit. And one of my favorite movies of the last 20 years exists in the 2010s. That's Nightcrawler. Because a friend is a gift you give yourself, just like the movie. So I'd probably go back to the 2010s. So here's my question to you guys, and I think I can almost predict the answer. If you had to pick a time period of movies, would you pick the 2010s or the 2020s? And don't get me wrong, the 2010s had a lot of shit in them. One of those is the Point Break remake. You know, it's just like there was a lot of bad movies, but there was also like the gems that existed. In the 2020s, yeah, there's been some good stuff, but man, I could almost live without it. Robert Giachanta says, just got out of Mickey 17. What an unfunny bore. Yeah, so thanks for the question, Robert. I talked about Mickey 17 earlier. I said the first half is fine and good, worth seeing. The second half, the jokes go stale, the plot runs thin, and you stop caring about everything and everything they're doing. It's like, once the initial concept phase is sort of over, I'm like, ah. And then by the 2-hour mark, I'm like, oh, we're still doing this, huh? All right, Blu-ray Addict says 2010s. Manuel says 2010s. MC Pauly says, just finished my rewatch of Gladiator seconds ago. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And again, and again, and again. And your son moaned like a girl when they nailed him to the cross. Oh, I'm sorry I find that funny, but God, that's a great line. Yeah, everyone's saying 2010, so I think we're all on the same page. I knew that's why we hang out. All right. The next one comes from, Robert. So I was not a fan of the movie. It's not that I hated Mickey 17. I hate the second. The second half just almost undoes what the first half did, you know? Mr. Rational says nothing, but thanks for the super chat, man. And shout out to Mr. Rational. All right, the next one comes from Robert Giachanta again. Rewatching Breaking Bad. Is it bad that I end up fast forwarding during the parts involving his wife and sister-in-law? You know what? The wife and I recently rewatched it. She had never seen it. And I had not rewatched the entire series since the season finale when it first aired back in, 2013. I loved it. I still found it riveting. I loved it. But if I ever do go back and rewatch it again, the Skylar scenes, yeah, I'm skipping that shit. But she does become slightly bearable in the later 2 seasons. Once they buy the car wash, I thought she was at least watchable. Still annoying, but at least she felt like a slight person. But then again, you know what makes me mad about her? She fucked Ted. Yeah, your husband's dying of cancer and he's selling meth to support the family. Okay, so what? You fucked Ted. Why? Because you wanted attention. She deserved everything she got. Anyway, let's go to the next one. All right. Hiram Lavinos says, hey, John, what was up with that period in your life when you were moving around constantly? Haven't we already talked about this? You know what it was? I know the running gag is I move a lot, and I do move a lot, but that's only because I want to settle down in the right place. And when I started moving, first of all, I just ended up getting in situations that didn't quite work out. They were great, and then they faded into obscurity. And then you have to ask yourself, do I want to stay here or do I want to go? And that's the thing about life. There's a lot of different flavors. And if you don't try out multiple flavors, how do you know what your favorite is? Okay? So that's how I treat moving and relationships. And so I moved quite often, yes, because I felt like wherever the wind was taking me, and when I was doing YouTube full time, and I could work from just about anywhere, especially home, I figured, why not move somewhere? And I'm not mad that I did it. You know, there's a lot of life experience you have when you move around and meet different people and live in different locations. And I think that's great. I really do. So I don't regret moving a lot. It just was expensive at times. So yeah, that's why I moved so much. And there's a few times where I moved where I was going to a place that I knew I wouldn't be at very long, especially when I got into apartment life, because you sign a 1 or 2 year lease, and once it's over, you go, well, why would I stay here? Let me go somewhere else. So I didn't get too complacent. I will tell you this, though. Here's some insight for you. When I lived in South Carolina in 2017 and I was moving, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I had no clue. It didn't feel like anywhere was home. I knew it. I knew I didn't want to come back to where I was from because I just left. I left. I needed to stay away for a couple years, and I didn't know where I wanted to go. And I ended up moving to Cleveland. But before that, I was on the edge of doing this, and part of me almost wishes I did to some degree. But then again, would I be where I am now? I don't know. Or would I be better? I don't know. Would I be a millionaire? I don't know. But I wanted to buy a van, like a large Sprinter van, and sort of create a channel dedicated to van life videos. And there's a lot of those channels that exist on the internet, and a lot of them are really cool and very well done. And I definitely think I could have brought something interesting to that. I would have had the ultimate theater setup in my van. I would have driven around the country, going to movie locations, camping out, peeing in the woods. I still would have done movie reviews in the back of my van. So that to me was like something I almost did. It was my version of when Forrest Gump at the end of the movie, right before the third act hits, just gets up and runs for 2 years. I just felt like running. I almost did that. And instead I moved to Cleveland, so I don't know. All right. Bruce Cook says, John, I thought the Sour Patch Kid factory was the place you wanted to live. I'm mad at that. They never reached out to me. Years and years of promoting their cavity-inducing glucose chew goop. They never reached out to me. I love Sour Patch Kids, though. I'll never be mad at you. I'll never stay mad. First I'm sour, then I'm sweet. You guys know how it goes. And also, the reason I moved around so much was I'm actually a serial killer. I do fit every trait, though. Do I not? Okay, let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Jake Tamman, who says, rewatched Iron Man 3 and Mandarin Twist. Oh, and Mandarin Twist still sucks. Completely ruins the movie after a very solid first half. Yeah, the Mandarin Twist was too subverting expectations, dumb. Why would you do that? We just want a cool villain. Make him a cool badass villain. That's all you have to do. I mean, even if he was just an arms dealer hiding behind some kind of pseudo magic, I could have lived with that. But to make him an actor, a Shakespearean actor on Broadway, I was just like, I couldn't forgive the movie after that. Mr. Rational says, thoughts on The Brutalist? You look stoned. I'm just really tired. I have not watched all of it. And I'm sad to say I watched the first 30 minutes of it. And I could kind of sense that it wasn't going to be, when it comes to Adrian Brody, I love him in films like The Pianist. I do. I love movies like that. I don't mind a 3.5 hour time period movie that captures a cinematic time era of, a lot of depression and, it's sort of the tone that I want. But I knew 30 minutes into The Brutalist, I had a feeling that probably wasn't going to be in my top 10 of the year. But I do want to finish it. So shame on me for not finishing it. But I did watch the first 30 minutes of the movie. I refused to judge it too harsh on those first 30 minutes. Maybe it was late and I was trying to get into it, but Saul says, who would you want to direct your biopic? Oh, man. At one point, I would have told you Matthew Vaughn. I would have told you Matthew Vaughn could direct my biopic. And I wouldn't mind if it was a little kick-assy. You know what I mean? But at this point in my life, I want my biopic to be this large $400 million production. It'll be the most epic movie of all time about a guy sitting in a chair talking about movies. So I would like Joseph Kosinski to direct it. Or, you know what? James Cameron. But if I could really pick one person to direct my biopic, let's go with I don't know. I think it would be good with Steven Spielberg would be a good choice. But listen to me. Who would direct my biopic? Come on. Michael Bay. That's it. That's the only one that would truly make sense, is it not? Imagine if I had a $300 million explosion behind me right now. Instant entertainment. Quentin Tarantino. Yes. Okay. You got it. If I could pick one, Quentin Tarantino. Show me that movie. Show me it right now. Hiram Levinos. You know I can't read, Hiram. But anyway. Hiram says, hey, John. What was up? Oh, we answered that already. Oh, here we go. Okay, Night King 1 back at it again. John, I rewatched Captain America, the First Avenger, a few days ago. I have to say, despite me liking Winter Soldier more, this had way better style and underrated. Well, yeah, it's directed by The Rocketeer, Jurassic Park 3, Joe Johnston? Joe Johnston directed Captain America First Avenger, and that's why it had that style. That's why it felt like an early 90s action movie in a way. Like it felt like people had prosthetics on and there were sets built around them. In the running scene with Chris Evans, after he becomes all jacked up on super soldier serum, he has rubber feet on to protect his feet from running on the street. You don't notice it in the movie, but if you pay close attention, he just has big rubber feet. And I love all of those things. I love Captain America, the First Avenger. I love that throwback time period when he's skinny little Steve Rogers. I like the boot camp sequences. It's a good time. I've always stood by that being one of the better first solo origin movies of the MCU. At least it has a style. It feels individualized. All right. Bruce Cook says Chris Stuckman could direct your biopic. I'll go with Michael Bay. I'll go with Michael Bay. I need more saturation. Okay, the next one. Oh, God. The next one comes from Gabe K. How's it going, Gabe? What would it take for something like Screen Junkies to thrive on YouTube today? Or do you think it's not possible for Screen Junkies / Collider to thrive in today's environment? I mean, there's a reason they went extinct, besides the obvious. It's just, I feel like it is a weird time where people don't want to see a lot of group discussion. They're sort of just in love with who they're in love with. I think there is room for a TV or a movie discussion channel with multiple personalities. Now, do they play movie fights? I don't know. I think a fun debate is always fun. But, as somebody who is on movie fights, 3 times, 2-time winner, just putting it out there. It is very exhausting, and I thought it was entertaining to watch, but I feel like it served its purpose in the zeitgeist, and I get why it doesn't exist. But man, that was an exhausting show to be on. And it was so hot in that studio. Holy shit. Dude, I would get up after movie fights, like my shirt was wet. Because you're sitting under 100 studio lights in this tiny little room. And there's like 10 people in there. Holy, and you're like trying to be fast and witty. It's just, so yeah. I think it's possible depending on the personalities, Gabe. I really do. I think there's always room on YouTube for banter between 2 people or multiple people to talk about movies. Now, if they're doing debates, I don't know. Mr. Rational says, will you do an updated 20 favorite films of all time? I could probably do that. And here's what I would like to do. Have I been on YouTube for 15 years? What's the year today? 2025. So it's 2020. Okay, yes. This will make sense now. I have been... This October will be the anniversary of the FlickPick channel for 15 years on YouTube. Most of you watching weren't even conceived. And some of you watching were conceived while your parents watched me. At least that's the way I like to think about it. And so, yeah, I think you know what I'll do for my 15-year anniversary on YouTube? I will make an updated top 20 movies of all time video. Okay. That is a golden idea. I'll do that, man. All right, the next one comes from Oh, here we go. Sorry. Gabe K once again says, movie fights was very close to peak entertainment on YouTube for cinema discussion. Would love to see it return someday. Loved your battle with Stuckman way back when. And I won that shit. Winner takes all, loser takes the fall. I'm going over the top, baby. Yeah, you know what's fun, though, about movie fights? I wish I could go back and do it again right now. I'll be honest. I feel like my arguments would be better at this point than they were like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Yeah. All right, the next one comes from Caleb, who says, why they hating on my John? What for? Is it because I took Michelle out the hood? What urban culture film is that from? Ain't my son. Well, fuck your fault. All right. What movie is that from? Michelle Out the Hood? What is that from? Caden says, love your streams. I fell asleep to them. Thanks, John. Well, you're welcome. Sweet dreams. But if you're awake, hello. All right. I'm like the rain sound you play on Spotify. Except a really annoying guy rambling on about movies and other weird shit. Night King 01, back at it again, says... by the way, Rolling Thunder, same writer as Taxi Driver, and the climax is equally as violent. Man, you're selling me on Rolling Thunder, Claudio. Or Night King 01, but you guys are related, so it's all the same, right? I'll check it out, man. Bruce Cook says, yes, you have been on YouTube for 15 years. I've watched every one of them. Have you really? Every single shitty video? Well, I thank you for that, man. Thank you so much. It doesn't feel like 15 years. It really doesn't. It's scary to me. It gives me like almost a flutter in my heart when I go back and watch videos I made in 2010, because I look at that and I know who that person was, but I don't quite remember them. Isn't that terrifying? It's like, is that me, or is that me in an alternate dimension? I don't know. Anyway, all right. We got Robert Baranowski in here. Hey, how's it going, Robert? Thank you for everything, John. Greetings from Florida. Well, hello to Florida. Man, I'll tell you what. I don't know where at in Florida you live, but I would love to go there when Epic Universe opens, that theme park in Orlando. It looks glorious. Oh, Dark Universe. Oh, that looks so sexy, man. All the classic Universal monsters. So anyway, that relates to Florida, but nevertheless, man, thanks for joining me. Kevy Rez says, what are your thoughts on Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley? I liked it. It was different. It was interesting. I didn't expect it. Do I think she might be a transitional champ? Probably, maybe. I'm hoping maybe it's a triple threat with her and Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I could see that, but the match that everyone's wanted to see was Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. So I don't know how Io Sky fits in that, or maybe she loses the championship in a month, right? Like another month right before WrestleMania. I don't know, but I liked it. It was a nice surprise. All right, the next one comes from Robert Giachanta once again. Speaking of Forrest Gump, is that the most quotable movie of all time? I think I say a line from it every week. Oh, yeah, I say a line from it every 7 minutes. What are you talking about? She tastes like cigarettes. I love it, man. Hey, stupid. Can't sit here. Yeah, it's one of the most quotable movies of all time. And could you, what would it take for the next movie to be as memorable or as moving as Forrest Gump? When is the next movie in the same plane as Forrest Gump ever going to come out? I don't think it's possible. I don't think you could make another movie as memorable or as fun or as combining 14 different genres into one and somehow making it work. I don't think it can ever be replicated. I really don't. That was like the last great movie from Zemeckis. All right. And by the way, I did watch, it's called Here, right? With Tom Hanks, where the movie takes place in one living room. I made it through about 14 minutes of that movie. All right. All right. The next one comes from Wrangler52 says, let's play that again. Rewatched Anora tonight, this time in theaters. What a great movie. Igor steals the show and Mikey is brilliant. I think it was deserving of its wins. I did like Anora. I did not expect it to win Best Picture. Not for a second, until maybe the week or two leading up to the Oscars, where I could feel the buzz coming alive for the movie. But watching it for the first time, I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was like the best movie of the year. But then again, maybe I'm biased. I was hoping something like The Substance would win. So yeah, man, I'm glad Anora won over some of the other nominees, but it's kind of surprising that was the best movie. I liked it, but maybe the third act fell a little flat slightly until the ending for me. But I did enjoy the movie. And she definitely played a great hooker with a heart of gold. Robert Bernowski says, what happened between you and Stuckman? I grew up watching your collabs and think you two had the best chemistry on YouTube. Personalities, you just grow apart and you stop talking because there's less to talk about. And the more you step away from someone and the older you get, you kind of realize there's just certain aspects that you just don't relate to anymore. Even though you try and you do reach out, but you just kind of get this cold vibe, and it's just like you felt it coming forever, but it's finally here, and you go, okay, I get it, man. So I just think people get too preoccupied or too hyper focused, and you just lose touch, and that's fine. It's fine. Life goes on. All right. What's the next one here? Oh, Mr. Rational says, first mower you... Oh, shit, I can't read. First mover you ever watched in theaters tired. Oh, first movie? Is that what you meant? First movie I watched in theaters or fell asleep to? I couldn't... Okay, here's the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I think when I was a kid, my parents took me to a drive-in theater to watch Jurassic Park. But I think it was for the second time. And I remember kind of falling asleep in the movie. I was a tired little boy, okay? I didn't know I was watching Magic and Jeff Goldblum up in the big screen. I had a hard day at first grade. Leave me alone. Maybe I was in second grade. I couldn't tell you. No, it was probably first grade or kindergarten. 94? Yeah, I think it was kindergarten. We'll go with that. Murdoch says, do more 3C. If we ever hang out again, we will. 3C's a fun guy, you know. I got more than I expected from the YouTube version of 3C. Bruce Cook says, Dreamcatcher fell asleep in the middle. Dude, I think I did the same thing and never finished the movie. And I think I watched it on DVD or something. All right, the next one comes from Mr. Rational, who says, oh, we answered that already. Come on. Oh, okay. Louis Burgos says, started watching you when I was 12. I'm 25 now. Drank a bit and got brave enough to send a super chat. No exaggeration. Huge part of my life. Laugh out loud. Man, Louis, thank you so much. First and foremost, have another drink on me. Not too many if you're driving. Stay put. You've been watching since you were 12 and you're 25 now. That's beautiful. I hope to think I hope to think that I helped develop you into the alcoholic that you are right now. So thank you for that. Thanks, Louis. And thanks for the super chat, man. Huge part of your life. I need you to know that's special, man. Thank you for that. You just never know who watches your shit on YouTube. You really don't. There's some days where I'm like, oh man, I'm suck. I don't want to do this shit. Why am I talking? And then you get comments like that and you're like, okay, somebody was watching. Somebody liked it. So thanks so much, Louis. Thank you, man. Here's to another 12 years. I wish that was alcoholic. Pete Velasquez says, started watching you when I was 15. Now I'm 25. Scary. Everyone's like 25 now. What's going on? Well, either way, Pete, I appreciate that, man. That's crazy. You know, the weird thing about most of my viewers, I feel like at least 50% of them have been watching since they were prepubescent. And now they're watching now. But in a weird way, don't you feel like we grew up together? Like ever so slightly? You know what I mean? So I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, the next one comes from XX Real Guy Josh XX. Okay. Really wished you and Chris would have come to my family video before we got shut down. Would have been an honor to rent you a game or movie. Or just give me one for free. I'll never return it. You guys are closing down next month. What's it matter? But thanks for that, man. Which one did you work at? So if you're talking about, or did you work in the Akron location, or do you just work at a family video or in like Tennessee or something? But anyway, I've been to many family videos over the years, so that's where I got my big Sour Patch Kid standee out in my garage. I miss family. Dude, you just unlocked something that I was trying to suppress. I miss family videos so much. I miss walking in and just being able to touch movies. And listen, if I could just experience that, where if they had a place that was a video store and you walk in, you can't actually rent any of these movies. You just walk around, you look at the posters, you smell the air, you buy a gumball, what have you, and then you leave. That would be better than therapy. That would be cathartic for me. I would pay a subscription fee every month to do that. I would pay $14.99 a month to walk into a fake video store just for 10 minutes a day to collect my thoughts and remember the good times in life. And then I would leave, and it would be great. You don't need to pop a pill. You don't need to go to therapy. You just need to go to the video store. I'm telling you, that's a great business idea. Nostalgia will sell. This is an investment advice to all of you watching right now. Murdoch says we started going gray together. Dude, I started getting gray hairs when I was like 21 years old. I had a lot of stress in my my late teens, early 20s. And I'm getting a little gray around. I'm hoping I age into George Clooney, though. That good gray. So, I don't mind it. Makes me look wise as a guy in a Pizza Planet jacket can look. Nathan Jarrett has been watching John since 1987. As soon as I popped out of my mother's womb, you've been looking at me, and I thank you for that. Murdoch's says 23 to 33. Here, longtime viewer. You got me stealing my son's Sour Patch Kids. Well, congratulations, man. I always like when I'm a negative influence. But I don't call it a negative influence. I just call it a lifestyle. Oh, you closed 3 stores. Okay. You closed 3 family video stores? Yeah, I think I lived in Columbus, Ohio when they were closing all of the family video stores. I have a video on this channel from 2020, going into like a family video store and doing like a flick trip. Sureg, sorry, you know I can't read, says flick trip when? Where do you want me to go on a flick trip to? Give me some advice. Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to buy? I'm asking you. Let me know. You have any good ideas or suggestions? I'll try to do it. All right, the next one comes from Caleb R., who says, John, do you think Adrian Brody deserved Best Actor? I don't know, but that speech went on way too fucking long. Best Actor, I think Adrian Brody is a great actor. Keep in mind, I didn't watch all of The Brutalists. I do need to finish it. I thought his performance was like subtle and kind of, I don't know if it was best performance of the year. I don't know. I'd have to finish the movie. I don't think it was. But let me finish the movie. I don't know. What do you guys think about Adrian Brody winning the best performance of the year? What do you think about that? Who should have won? I mean, I'm hard pressed to pick somebody else. I really am. I'm trying to think who else I'd. Ray Fiennes for Conclave. Never watched that, and I never will. But as far as Best Actress goes, Mikey Madison, did I say Madison or Matt? Yeah, Madison. As Best Actress, I get why, but damn it, Demi Moore should have got it. Just give it to Demi Moore that year. But would that have been sort of undermining? Like, does that undermine winning Best Picture and then you don't get Best Actress? Is that sort of like detrimental slightly? I don't know. That speech is still going on as we speak. Yeah, it probably is. Oh, Adrian Brody's a great actor. The Pianist is like one of my favorite movies. I thought he was great in that film. All right, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, I'm going to drink this next Jack Daniels and Coke for you. 5 years ago, this was the last normal week of our lives. It's a crazy half a decade, John. Well, man, drink up, have one for me, have 3 for me. You know, I do appreciate it. So thank you, man. It does feel like the last normal decade. It really does. Life is getting too weird and too rapid. And as far as like YouTube goes, it feels weird. I don't know. It's just something about the atmosphere of the way YouTube's going. I won't say YouTube. I'll say social media. It feels like every year that goes by, it just becomes more and more disingenuous, doesn't it? I don't know. And plus, you know, I'm getting old. You know, and in a couple years, I'm going to be 73 years old. So it's like, I got to figure out what I'm doing with my life. Roger something says, why don't you take a trip to a famous movie locations around you, and that would be the Flick trip? Yeah, that's cool and all, but like, that's 4 or 5, 6 hours away. And then if I do a video, I want to make it good. So now you're talking about multiple days, a hotel stay. So I just don't think it's cost effective. I would like to do that. I really would. But it costs too much to leave the state that you live in. I would love to, dude, if I had unlimited money, every Flick trip video would be me driving the DeLorean with some guy I hire that looks just like Doc Brown. And half the time he doesn't say anything in my videos. He's just in the passenger seat and he reacts to stupid shit I say. And we just drive around the country to cool movie locations like the Home Alone house or something. You know, that's what Flick trips would be if I had unlimited funds. All right. The next one comes from Your Sore, who says, are we ever getting Sicario 3? Yes. I talked about that earlier. And I thought that was in the works at some point, and I would like to see it. I think there's plenty of meat left on the bone to make another Sicario movie. I mean, anything with the CIA or the FBI and trying to tackle drugs, I think you could go any direction, any story, any place, and I think you can make a cool movie in that franchise. I hope so. I don't know anything about it. John B says, I'd go to that video store. I would too. Bruce Cook says, there was still a family video in Dayton in 2020, now closed. Yeah, most of them closed down in like 2020 or 2021. Actually, I think they all closed in 2020. I feel like they did. Roger something. We talked about that. Okay. Bruce Cook says, I've been drinking beer this whole time. That's why my posts have become more prolific. Well, thank you for that. Keep drinking, man. It makes it more entertaining. Bruce Cook says, I thought you would be driving the Batmobile. Well, Bruce, damn it. That was the next vehicle. But the truth is, I think I could like manage a DeLorean. Getting a Batmobile, it's not quite street legal, and it probably costs more than I'm willing to pay. But then again, if money's no object, and I have any billionaire viewers right now, and you'd like to produce the next series of Flick trips, please let me know. I'm waiting and willing. My donation link is down below. I will do a DeLorean Flick trip if we at least have a 50 grand budget. 50 grand, I think I can pull this off. And I'll hire a camera crew. I think I can do it. Roger something says, I feel you. You could make a Flick trips more limited. I mean, if you don't plan to make any more, I don't know. You could make some every now and then. I could always make simple Flick trips now. Like I can do something going to the store, buying a movie, going to buy a TV, going to see a movie. Like this summer, I'm hoping I can go to the drive-in and make some Flick trips there. So some like casual Flick trips where we just go to hang out. We get some popcorn. We go to the drive-in. You can hang out with my wife too. That's how much I like you. And, we can do stuff like that. Maybe I can get some cool drone footage. I don't know. But I would like to do more Flick trips. I can always do quick Flick trips as well. Like very simple vloggy style ones. Those would be a bit easier to produce. The truth is there's just not many places to go anymore. Like we don't have Blockbuster. I don't have Walmart at 2:00 in the morning anymore. Like I can't go during the vampire shift and ride around bicycles in the store and scream. Like they close at 10 o'clock. Like what do I do? I don't have video stores anymore. I have nowhere to go. It's nothing but streaming now. I have to stay home to make Flick trips. This is a Flick trip at this point. All right. Roger something says, by the way, John, you do think you will ever collab with Pretty Much It? Eric is one of those guys I could reach out to right now or probably call and he'd pick it up. And keep in mind, I haven't actually spoken to him since he stayed the night at my house like 12 years ago. But yeah, I think if I reached out, I could probably collaborate with him in some degree. Maybe I will. I don't know. I think it's crazy how and by the way, speaking of Eric Striffler, I think it's crazy how like his movie commentary thing took off. I'm like, where did that come from? But good on him, man. Okay. The next one comes from. Oh, here we go. Skylar Wheelock says, someone told me that Harry Potter is supposed to take place between 1991 and 1998, which is ridiculous because not once in 7 books does a single character say, man, Stone Cold is having one hell of a run, huh? Oh, and speaking of wrestling terminology, no one does the suck it sign either. Absolutely. And you're telling me no one references Independence Day? What? No. My wife knows everything about Harry Potter. And for some reason, I guess I didn't. For some reason, I didn't remember that it took place in the 90s either. But that does completely make sense. Okay. Yourser says, do you still take any supplements, even the basics? Dude, I don't even work out anymore, okay? That's where I'm at in life. But hear me out for a second. I want to. I do. But here's the thing. The last 4 or 5 months, ever since I got married, I got very complacent and gained 15 pounds. And I need to get back into the gym. And plus, I think there's some seasonal depression going on. So once that sun comes back out again, and I can hop on my riding lawnmower and smell that fresh cut grass glistening in the sunlight, I will go back to the gym and I will pump that iron and I will listen to Rammstein music and gain some muscle mass once again. And stop eating too many gummy Jolly Rancher candies. Jolly Rancher gummies, I can eat an entire bag. It's disgusting. I hate myself for it. But anyway, so I do want to get back into the gym. I do. And the only supplements I'll probably take, just a multivitamin, to be honest with you. Like magnesium, B12, zinc, all the essential vitamins. And then probably the other supplement I'll take is protein. I can just never seem to eat enough to get enough protein, especially when I'm working out. So I'll probably get back into protein shakes. I do miss using my bullet blender, oddly enough. It's just something holding that thing down when you got a banana in there and all that fluid is flying around. It just feels good. Vibrating in your hand. You're like, I can't wait to drink this when it's done. Ugh. Did I just romanticize violently tearing apart a banana? Yeah, I did. But that's how I feel about it. But yeah, man, I'll get back to the protein shakes, but I need to get back into working out. Frederick let's start your name up here. Frederick LeBrun says, hey, John, are you looking forward to Thunderbolts? I'm excited to see John Walker back in action. Best character of Phase 4. Yeah, I love him too, man. Don't say that on Twitter because people will cancel you back in 2020. I don't know. So I am looking forward to the Thunderbolts. I think the new trailer was awesome. And it looks like a fun comedy movie. It's exactly what it should be in terms of tone. They're taking all these kind of secondary characters and combining forces and doing a Suicide Squad thing. But it is self-aware to some degree. But I like how simplistic it is. I like that they use the reference, none of us can fly. And I like that it's simple. It's heroes who can punch and shoot guns. Thank you. Okay, I'll take that. That's refreshing to me. Don't get me wrong, I love a big epic Avengers movie. It's fun. But on the flip side of that, I do like a bit more simplistic, grounded superhero movie in that same universe. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, we got one here from Dam5271. How's it going, Dam? Okay, hello, John. How are you? How is life? Advice for a midlife crisis, if any. Oh, boy, do I. The thing is, you have to get out of the house. You have to stay productive. You have to find something that gives you hope and a will to live immediately. And when mowing the lawn runs thin and you can't mow it anymore because the grass is just too short, you gotta find something that you truly enjoy. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've always loved movies, but movies in the last 3 years, it's been sort of like a Renaissance era for me. You know, and that's one of the reasons I sort of come back to YouTube a little bit more in the last year or the last 6 months. It's sort of I don't want to say it's an existential midlife crisis, but I did some deep soul searching and I found what made me happy, what gave me purpose. And it was never working for somebody else. It was talking about movies on YouTube. It was somehow making a living and getting lucky and scraping by doing that from time to time. But the other thing is, I like to get out. If your mental health is real low, get out of the house, ride a bike, walk around the block, go play frisbee golf. I picked up frisbee golf last summer. Did you hear what I said? Frisbee golf. I never thought I'd say that, but I like it. It's fun. So pick up an activity. You'll be fine, man. You still got a couple years left. That's the way I look at it. All right. XX Real Guy X or Josh XX says, "Did you watch Last of Us on Max? Will you watch season 2?" Oh, dude, I loved Last of Us. I really enjoyed it. And anytime you get a post-apocalyptic movie with our series with zombies and it's actually well made, I'm into it. So I did enjoy it. Like I said, not perfect. And I will say the one thing that stands out about that entire season is the episode with Bill. I liked that episode. I know like a lot of people hated it or what have you. And I know, but I liked it. I think that was kind of interesting. You know, it was an interesting backstory on the character. I will say that. Unexpected, but interesting nevertheless. It felt like its own little movie within a series. All right. The next one comes from Royale with Cheese says, "What do you think about the controversy about them adding AI to the Brutalist to enhance the Hungarian accents of some of the actors? To me, it's pretty concerning for future cinema." I guess I didn't know about this. So they wanted to enhance the Hungarian accents? Were they like bad accents, or did they want to make them more clear, or what did they do specifically to enhance them? It depends on the enhancement level. Let me know. Was it noticeable when you watched it? Bruce Cook says, "I thought the solution to a midlife crisis was a new Corvette." Yeah, if you have the cash and the credit score, okay? I drive a Toyota. I play disc golf. Sometimes I go bowling. I mow my grass. And then other than that, I talk on YouTube. Steve Goldie says, "Hearing you talk about movies on YouTube makes me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing in life." Well, thank you for that, Steve. That's the best gift I can give you. This is my gift to humanity. Take it as you will. But thanks, man. Dude, honestly, to me, this is an outlet. I get pent up all week. Take that how you will. And I release with all of you. I think it's beautiful in a way, isn't it? It's almost magical, as you would say. But no, man, doing these live shows is like hanging out with 240 friends at the same time. It's just like boom, boom, boom. I get to talk movies, and it's fun. The next one comes from... Oh, here we go. Skylar Wheelock. Skylar Wheelock says, "Watch Men in Black 3 today. Brolin was so damn good at pulling from Jones' persona and mannerisms to nail a younger Agent K. It's always fun seeing an actor base a performance on another actor. So much better than digital de-aging or CGI. Yeah, but you got to admit, Josh Brolin literally looks like a younger incarnation of Tommy Lee Jones. You know, it's so perfect casting there, and he definitely did nail the mannerisms. This is my happy face. Great casting. And Josh Brolin, though, you also got lucky with a guy who looks like Tommy Lee Jones and is as good of an actor. You know, so. All right. Colin says, has your wife seen any of your old videos? Multiple of them. And it's almost like weird. She's like, I don't know. Who's that guy? And I'm like, it's the same guy, you know? I just pretend not to be that weird. So yeah, there's been a few I've shown her and she's like, Jesus, John, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. Thank you for saying I do. Now you're stuck. But yeah, she's seen some old ones. She hated Buff John. The buff phase of my life, or on YouTube, was not a fan of it. She's like, you look all puffy and gross. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do. Yourser says, ever eaten Tim Tams? Please visit Australia, mate. Tim Tams? What the hell is a Tim Tam? And why do I want to consume it? What is it, like kangaroo cum? Oh, it's a candy. Okay. What is this? Like a chocolate bar? Tim Tams family pack. Oh, it's like a chocolate biscuit candy. Yeah, we have those in America. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It looks delicious. Not going to lie. It looks utterly delicious. I would eat one right now. But yeah, I've had that. No, I haven't had that, but I've had things very similar to that. Justice says, are you going to WrestleMania this year? No, I'm not going. It's too expensive, too far away. I wanted to, and the fun thing about WrestleMania this year is day one of WrestleMania is on my birthday, April 19th. So I was like, God, that would have been the year to go. But I did go to I have a slight speech impediment right now because I'm so tired. But I did go to Royal Rumble in January, and that was a good time, but it cost so much. And the other thing is, I did buy tickets, though, just the other day, to go to a Raw in June in Columbus, Ohio, so where I used to live. So I'm going to check that out. So if you guys live in the Columbus, Ohio area, and you're going to WWE Raw June 23rd, well, I'll see you there, maybe. Yeah, those Tim Tam cookies look good as hell, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I could eat some of those right now. All right, the next one comes from Damn5271. Say it isn't so, John Cena. You kind of look like Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park with them shades. Well, thank you for that. You are going to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour. Yeah, man, thank you for that. And our next question comes from Folsom Northwest, who says, my wife and I have been enjoying K-dramas on Netflix lately. What's some of your favorite subbed movies or shows? Oh, like Korean dramas? And did you mean dubbed or subbed? Let me know if I misread that. Well, I mean, speaking of Jong Boon-ho, we just had Mickey 17. That's not really a Korean movie, but so Parasite, I liked Old Boy. Train to Busan, I liked quite a bit. There's something else I wanted to talk about. There's a few I want to watch still. Where is it? The Man from Nowhere, Always, Mother, Hope. Oh, there's like a remake of The Taxi Driver. What the hell is that? So yeah, I mean, the one movie that turned me on to if we're talking about South Korean movies was Old Boy. Once I discovered that movie, I was like, what is this? And where do I get more of it? Bruce Cook says, your birthday this year, you're turning 25, right? Yeah, I sure am. 25 years old. I miss those days. Crunch Butt Steak says, HGH Gamma Ray, John, was epic. I'll take that. Super Soldier Serum, John, I'll take that. All right, the next one comes from... Oh, by the way, sorry, Ninja says, hey, John, what is your opinion on Tron movies? I was never a fan of the first Tron movie. I liked Tron Legacy. I like it. I like the direction, obviously, but I just think it's a little flat, especially like the last half of it. Visually, it's really cool, but man, it's one of those movies like I don't go back for the story, and I almost feel like in Tron Legacy, once you get the light bike sequence, it kind of blows its load just slightly, and I'm like, after that, it's like, oh, I feel like I got everything I needed, you know? So I am looking forward to the new Tron. I'm not looking forward to Jared Leto being in the movie. It just, for some reason, him being in movies lately takes me out of it. Ever since he played the Joker, he just has this weird pretentiousness about him in movies, and he's like box office poison at this point, isn't he? And by the way, Full Send Northwest, going back to your question earlier about Korean shows, sorry if I didn't mention it, but Squid Games, man, that one of my favorite shows of all time. I mean, the new season I quite enjoyed. The intensity of those games, the pentathlon game sequence where they have to play like 6 mini games. Oh, or was it 5? 5 mini games, I believe. Pentathlon, that makes sense, right? Or is it 6? Anyway, where was I going with it? No, I love Squid Games. I'm looking forward to the new season quite a bit. I'm so hyped that they announced it for like June 27th or something like that. So, Bruce Cook says, remake a Taxi Driver, Uber Driver. Yeah, yes. South Korean Uber Driver. Sounds like a Bollywood movie, though, doesn't it? It could be a Bollywood movie. Okay, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, back at it again. Is it the June 23rd Raw tour you're going to? I'm going to that. I'd love to shake your hand. You end up breaking it, but I'll accept it. Skylar, if you are there at that show, let me know where at in the arena. I'll tell you roughly where I'm sitting at, and you can find me and we can talk for a few minutes, man. Just remind me when it gets closer. We'll make it happen if you're really going. You're just going because I'm going now, aren't you? And that's okay. But no, seriously, if you go, let me know, man. How about this? Everybody watching, just go to that WWE Raw event, June 23rd in Columbus, Ohio at the Nationwide Arena, and we'll all hang out. It'll be fine. Just, we all dress up like Macho Man Randy Savage covered in baby oil. Bruce Cook, we answered that. And by the way, if any members are watching right now, if you guys want to submit any questions, feel free to do so right now. And if you guys have any other questions in the normal chat, now is the time to shine. Give it to me. I'm ready. Mr. Rational says, John, where can I meet people besides the bar and the gym? No one likes to talk to each other. Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon. You just got to keep swiping, man. Look for the special someone. My thing on any dating app was, hey, how's it going? You text back and forth a few times, and then I instantly say, hey, do you just want to talk on the phone? That's how you get to know somebody. Anyone can be whoever they want when they hide behind a text message that they developed for the last 20 minutes. Talking on the phone instantly gives you the character. That's my best advice. If they don't want to talk on the phone, then they can't carry a conversation. So just know personality might slightly go out the window. Mr. Rational says, John, what is the weirdest fan interaction you've ever had? I think one guy said something to me when I was peeing in a urinal at, what is the steakhouse restaurant? Logan's. at the steakhouse restaurant called Logan's. I was in the bathroom and I was at the urinal and I was like, I wasn't quite done yet. You know what I mean? You know, like you've already started, you're about to be done. You shake it, you go wash your hands, you get out of there. But some guy who kind of like noticed me when he was walking by, he went, "You're that Batman guy." And I'm like, this isn't the time or the place, but I might be. Never say that when you're in a bathroom. Okay. But other than that, he's like, no, on YouTube. Because at the time it was Batman v Superman coming out. And I was making videos about that. And they were doing very well on YouTube. And so I was like, yeah, man, I'll catch up with you outside in 2 seconds. So he went outside and I tried not to shake hands with him because I don't think he washed his hands, come to think about it. But nice enough guy, but that was maybe the weirdest interaction I've ever had. Okay, the next one, let's see. Let's see what we got over here. Alex is the weirdest fan. Alex Leba he's a weird little dude, but he has a heart of gold. I will give it to him. Nathan says, most embarrassing day ever. Oh God, I compartmentalize a lot of things in life, and that probably was compartmentalized. I don't, there's been so many, I've had so many embarrassing situations, but to pull one out of to pull one out right now, I'm trying to think of something that would be interesting. Embarrassing. Ah, God, I'll come back to it. You know what? I have one from high school. I have one I sort of remember from high school. And it's not even that bad, but it sort of is. And I remember we had gym class and everyone was sitting on the floors before like class started in the morning. And people would come in, walk, leave, and it was winter time. And I remember like there being some water on the gym floor by one of the doors. And it was like 15 feet in the door into the gymnasium. Keep in mind, there's like 180 people in here. And it echoes. Everything's echoing, you know, it's an echo chamber. And I remember walking in and I'm just like kind of talking to somebody or something. And then I slip and fall and it makes the loudest thud you've ever heard. And it echoes. And of course, like people laugh and you're like, it's fine, you know? But I remember like getting so embarrassed. And keep in mind, that was when I was a freshman. You know, you're new in high school. You just got there. You know, your social status is everything. You know? No. And that's where I got the name Flick Trip from. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding about that. But that would be a great story, wouldn't it? So anyway, let's go to the next one. All right. Your sir says, do you reckon GoldenEye will ever come to 4K before Casino Royale? It was always my fave. Bronson is elite. Have you seen Martyrs or Lake Mungo yet? I have not seen either yet. I will do it. They are on the to watch list. Yeah, GoldenEye hitting 4K would be cool. I'm surprised it's not. For some reason, I thought it was, but yeah, you're right. It's not on 4K. Yeah, you're right. And by the way, speaking of GoldenEye, my buddy was playing the N64 version of GoldenEye on his projector, and it looked like it was 2 pixels. It's crazy. Like that is one, you can't blow up N64 games and play them. Like at one point I thought that was peak graphics. Little did I know it looks like someone threw battery acid in your eyes as a child and said, yeah, doesn't that look good? That's what it looks like. But I still quite enjoy it. Great game. All right. Plus the music. Oh, yeah, baby. Facility. I love it. All right. We got one here from Royale with Cheese who says, AI was used to enhance Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones' Hungarian accents. They apparently had problems pronouncing certain difficult vowels. Okay, well, I don't think there's. Okay, so for me, if you have a time period movie or you have a specific accent, and some of the actors, and maybe it's a hard accent to learn, but you want the best actors for the job, and you enhance some of the dialogue ever so slightly, but you still use their own voice to do it, I don't see a problem with that slight enhancement. I really don't. I mean, when they made all the actors in Avatar 7-foot tall blue alien people, we didn't get mad. They were artificially enhanced, were they not? Was their performance not sort of enhanced? Even though they were doing motion capture, it was enhanced, was it not? So that's the way I sort of look at it. If it's a little detail that doesn't stand out, I think that's okay. All right, the next one comes from Harris Costan Tenaldis. Constant Tendis? Harris, your last name's hard to pronounce. Okay, here we go, though, man. Why do movies look so bright, saturated, and yellow-looking now to the point the actors themselves look CGI generated? We peaked in the 90s to late 2010s. You know, the thing is, it is the lighting. That's one. The other thing is, it's the color grading and color timing. We are desaturating movies to make them look flat because that's what studios think people want to see. But the great thing about the 90s, when it came to films, they had contrast. That's what made them look cinematic. They had this depth. They had the shadows. They looked like they had a pulse, and they were perspirating. They didn't look all dry with studio lights upon their heads. And a lot of movies, it just goes back to the old saying that practicality, it adds so much when you just shoot it in frame. It really does. Now it's like if you shoot everything artificial, well, now you have artificial lighting that you have to utilize with that green screen behind the actor. So now you get this artificial light, this artificial background, and now thus you have an artificial environment that just ruins everything. And they can never get the shadows right. They can just never get the shadows right with hair lighting when it comes to like most, like even Marvel movies. There's always too much hair light up here. It's like this. Oh shit, like that. It's like, hey, I'm outside. Okay. Anyway. Did I answer the question? All right. The next one. Oh, and going back to your question, look at Wicked. Look at Wicked that just came out. I dare you, if you added a little more saturation and contrast, that movie would look better. And the yellowish vibe. Now, the yellowish vibe is yeah, I always think of Wes Anderson when it comes to the yellowish vibe. But there's somebody else. But yeah, I think everything looks too bluey and desaturated. That's my biggest problem with cinema these days. But thanks for the question, man. I'm sorry most movies look cheap, especially Netflix movies that cost $320 million. I'm talking to you, Electric, whatever that movie's called. All right. The next one comes from Dam5271. I've been collecting movies and anime for 8 years. If you did it ever feel... Wait, 8 years. Did it ever feel overwhelming or confusing? Just curious. You've been collecting movies and anime for 8 years? No, movie collecting never felt overwhelming to me. I loved it, man. It was a reason to leave my house to put pants on. I loved it. That hunter-gatherer vibe instinct came out of me. I feel like a Neanderthal man. The only thing I want is Blu-rays. I don't care how to light a fire. Give me a Blu-ray. So I can bash it in the head with a hammer and drag it into my cave. And watch it! Also, do you miss anything from Ohio? Columbus, Ohio was kind of a cool place to live. There was things to do. I liked the movie theaters in Columbus, Ohio. There was the AMC at Easton, and it was like a gorgeous movie theater in this mall. Very violent mall, though. I think there was a shooting there not too long ago. Anyway, they had like these cool, like, I think they had like red leather seats. It's just a nice theater. I kind of miss things like that. Plus, that's where most of my screenings are now. So, unfortunately, I lived there right after COVID. So, they didn't have a lot of screenings. And now that's where I go for the majority of my screenings. So, I have to drive 3 hours to watch these movies. That sort of sucks. All right, Jesus Salcido, how's it going, man? Your thoughts on the Netflix Daredevil series. Also, what is your go-to Wingstop flavor? Mine is Louisiana rub. I don't know. I always get like the dry rubs. I don't think I've had Louisiana rub. I get mango habanero. We always get like the Korean one, and like a few others. But yeah, maybe I'll try the Louisiana rub. I love their seasoned fries, their Cajun seasoned fries. Yeah, guys, Wingstop is phenomenal. We go there probably once a week. We almost went there tonight, but we just got it last week, and I was like, But now that I'm talking about it, damn it, I wish I had some Wingstop. All right, the next one. As far as the Daredevil series on Netflix, I always liked it. I think season 1, I remember it was like a little grueling to get through at times, just because like I was like, okay, put the suit on, come on, let's get going. And then he puts the suit on and you go, that's it, we're done. And then season 2 was good. I quite enjoyed it. I liked when they introduced the Punisher. I thought some of the ninja stuff got a little weird and redundant. I loved all the extended hallway fight sequences in that show. Loved all of those, especially when he fought the biker gang. And then as far as the new season goes, I only watched the first episode. I meant to watch episode 2, but I did not get around to it. I'm sorry. But I liked that it started off with giving him a new character arc, something kind of to be sad and depressed about and to fight for. I'm sure that Catholic guilt will rise back up again. I like that Wilson Fisk is running for political office. You know, I think that's really interesting. Vanessa. Where's Vanessa? Vanessa. Vanessa. Anyway, great stuff. So, yeah, the thing about Daredevil, though, the series, it's never been a hardcore binger for me. I know. I'm sorry. I like it. I watch it. But sometimes there's certain episodes where I'm like, I don't need to watch the next one right now. A little bit kind of goes a long way because it kind of does feel like the same thing over and over again. But I do like the grounded grittiness of Daredevil. I just like that character. It's like, I'm blind, but now I have superpowers. It's like, that's cool, man. It's like, I don't know how these quite developed, but I'll still buy it. Bruce Cook says, what about Paul W.S. Anderson? Everything looks like garbage. Well, yeah. I was thinking Paul Thomas Anderson. I always think Paul Thomas Anderson before I think Paul W.S. Anderson. And the only thing good that Paul W.S. Anderson has ever made was Mortal Kombat 1995. The best movie he's ever made. Best, by far. And most people would say that's like a C+ movie at best. I love it. Childhood classic all day. But yeah, as far as all of his Resident Evil movies, I don't know what it is. He's kind of like the Yuri Ball of like cinema in the US at times. All of his movies look so junky. They look like straight to DVD movies, but they have this huge budget. It's like they're going to do all this weird, hokey, corny shit that looks like a music video from 1993, but then they're going to just give it like $50 or $100 million to expand upon that idea. So that's how I felt about all the Resident Evil movies that he directed. Pompeii looks cheap for some reason, right? All of his movies have this cheapness to them, a weird, surreal cheapness. I don't know why that is. They feel like they should be subplots in music videos. They really do. That's the way I look at him as a director. I know that sounds weird. I think he used to direct music videos, did he not? All right, Daniel Green, how's it going? John, have you ever seen Mean Creek? If not, I think you would like it. It's that coming of age Stand By Me vibe. Frequent use of slurs. Loved it. Isn't that the one where they kill the kid? Bully Josh Peck. Troubled fitting her. I have seen Mean Creek. I have seen this movie. But you're kind of making me want to watch it right now. Okay, I don't think someone dies. Okay. If Josh Peck died, though, it'd be... Okay, so... I don't remember... Dude, you're right. I don't remember this. I want to revisit this. It's got a 7.1, 89% of Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to watch this at some point soon. I've been needing a new movie to watch that I don't recall from the early 2000s. You know, I'm just... There's a lot of movies I've never seen. There really is. And I can safely say I don't remember much about this. It's on Amazon Prime. I have to rent it for $3.79? Fine, I'll do it. Is this my longest live stream? Holy shit. Have we been talking for 3 hours? We've been talking for 3 hours? I guess it is my longest live stream. Welcome. We're setting records and answering questions. We're taking names and kicking asses. Okay. I'll check it out, man. I do want to watch it. Your sir says, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? It's hard to just pick the scariest movie I've ever seen. It really is. But I can think of... what I do, though, is I go back to childhood trauma. And I think of watching the Nightmare on Elm Street films in my grandparents' basement. And when I was alone at a few points watching those movies, you as a child, and keep in mind, I'm talking like 8 years old, you truly do think there's a mean, burnt man who viciously ravaged children, and he is in that basement with you. It's only a matter of time. And the only way out of this situation is getting up the stairs. But the thing about my grandparents' stairs is they were the open stairs. So the back of them was open so someone could reach through like Freddy Krueger, or he could stab my ankles and I'm going to fall down the stairs. I was 100% sure this was going to happen. But during the movie when I was watching it, I told myself, if I get up before the movie ends, before the credits end, he's not going to be ready for me. I can trick him. I'll trick him. So what do? I wait until one of the scenes where not much is happening. Maybe it's just somebody driving down the road where you just know Freddy will not pop out. It's the safe scene throughout the film. And then what I would do is I pretend like I wasn't going to, but then I would turn and sprint up the stairs. And I don't think I touched one stair with my foot going up. I flew up those stairs. I hovered to the heavens above, to safety. And I vividly remember that. So as far as like childhood terror horror films go, it's probably one of the first Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And heck, if I close my eyes and think about it, maybe it was Nightmare on Elm Street 2. which maybe the scene I ran upstairs to was the scene with the gym coach in the locker room when the showers came on. Oh. All right, let's keep going here. Had a good opening scene, though. That movie had a great opening scene where the school bus gets stuck in the rock. Oh, great. All right, Skylar Wheelock says, which movie soundtrack slaps from beginning to end? Mortal Kombat, the soundtrack, 1995. I used to go to Barnes & Noble. And in the mid-90s, and I'm sure until maybe like 5-10 years ago or whatever, you could go into that store and they had all the CDs. And you could like play tracks from each CD. I think you had to scan it or something, and you could play some of the tracks that were on the playlist. And I remember like always going in there with my friends and listening to the Mortal Kombat soundtrack or any of the other multiple soundtracks that they had. Because when I was growing up, I wasn't into music. Like I didn't know which band this was. I just wasn't into it. I liked music. I just never followed it as much as movies. So I'd always look at soundtracks. And that's how I discovered other bands and music that I liked, through soundtracks that utilized them in their movies. So there's a tidbit about me. Also, another soundtrack, anything Hans Zimmer, man. Anything Hans Zimmer. And most of John Williams. Come on. All right, the next one comes from Chris Rapsky Art, who says, what is a great OG plot idea for a Batman film? Plot idea? You want me to come with a Batman plot idea off the top of my head? I don't know if I have that in me right now. I've been talking for 3 hours. Gosh, man, I don't know. Well, are you talking about like from the comic books and you want to like recreate it, or from the animated series? Is that what we're talking about? No, we kind of did that in live action. I was going to talk about Mr. Freeze, but we did that. I'm sorry. I would like to see an authentic Bane incarnation. And then speaking of Batman villains and plots, I mean, there's talk about making a Clayface movie, which could be intriguing. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to see big brown Clayface walking around like a giant turtle jacked up. That's not the interpretation I want to see. But the Clayface movie that they're talking about, or at least pitching, or at least the rumor, is they sort of want to make an actor who's this struggling B-rate actor who has body dysmorphia, and that's your new interpretation of Clayface, which would be sort of like a gritty, grounded approach that they did for the Joker. So I would like to see that quite a bit. And my thing is, maybe the selling point for this movie that it would actually be successful is something like The Substance. If you could bring in what The Substance did and sprinkle a little of that onto the character Clayface, would that not be pure cinema? So I'll take that. Full Sin Northwest says, I'm watching this at work for the last 2 hours. Man, well, what do you do? And, I'm glad you can enjoy it, man. Nevertheless, thank you for hanging out. Hey, I'll keep you company all night long. Or at least for a couple more minutes, because I'm about to pass out. I'm so hungry. I could eat my foot right now. All right. Azur says, glad to see you're still around on YouTube. Been watching for years. Have a good night, Flick. Well, have a good night to you too, buddy. Josh says, just got here. John, looking good. Am I looking fly in my Pizza Planet jacket? Thank you, man. I'll take it. Bruce Cook says, how about Clayface moving behind a reincarnation of Gumby? I can live with that. Roger something says, laugh out loud, glad I'm not the only one watching at work. What are you guys doing right now? If you want to share kind of a generality of your occupation, feel free. We'd love to know. Dan5271 says, good night, John. Long live Flip Pick. Well, good night to you, man. Sleep tight. Hope you have some very vivid dreams tonight. Oh, yeah. The Funky Monkey says, John, I connected with you on LinkedIn like a month ago. Not that you asked. Man, I pay no attention to LinkedIn. I'm sorry, but I'm glad we're connected on there. Theodoric, there we go. Thoughts on 2007 movie Awake with Anakin Skywalker? Oh, yes. Okay. The one where he goes under anesthesia and he knows they're going to like take his organs or something. Dude, I remember watching that, I think like on Showtime, but I have not seen it since. And you guys always ask these like crazy random movies, and I love that you do. They're like movies that have escaped my brain matter for many years. The thing about that movie though, go back and watch the trailer for the movie. It like kind of gives the whole plot away, if I remember correctly, but I liked that movie. It's just been so long since I've seen it. But yeah, what a like forgotten 2000 something movie. I'll take a Batman Beyond live action. Roger says, I work at a grocery store. I'm stocking shelves right now. Okay, cool, man. Sweet. Awesome. I'll let you know, man, as a guy who goes to the grocery store probably once a week, and I've said this once and I'll say it again. I never grab milk from the front or a frozen pizza from the front. Because every time I grab milk from the front, I just assume some lady had that in her cart, was walking around, didn't want to buy it, and left it in like the produce section for the last 7 hours, and it has curds growing in it. And then somebody found it and put it back in there. And I'm like, the first one's tainted. I got to reach to the all the way, not to the all the way to the back. You never grab the last one, but you grab like 80% in, and you grab that milk carton off the shelf, and you take that. That's your best bet, statistically speaking. And then let's see here. Bruce says, thanks for putting up with me. Man, thanks for putting up with me. Murdoch says, I sell rare games online. That's cool, man. Ain't selling anything cool lately? Lion Fan says, I'm on the toilet. I have my best thoughts when I'm on the thinking porcelain throne. I really do. Fulson Northwest works at Costco. Man, I'm telling you, if I didn't do YouTube, I would probably work at Costco as well. Fuck, I might get a part-time job there. I love me some Costco. But I could get how sometimes it would get chaotic and suck, though. Josh says, bro, I shop like that now because of your streams. Laugh out loud. That's funny. I'll take the credit. Dude, yeah, it's the best advice I can say. It really is. My wife does it now too. And I'm like, listen, I understand I have a slight form of OCD, but you just got to work with me here. It's for the survival of everyone. All right, the next one comes from Murdoch says, and they have longer fridge life dates further back. Oh, absolutely. You got to look for the best date. I got some donuts in the kitchen right now. I just say, I really want to eat them. Roger something says, I remember you saying that in a Flick Trip video and now do it with most things. Yeah, I can kind of remember the video. It was pizza night. It was like pizza night something on this channel. And the background in the thumbnail's pepperoni pizza. What are your thoughts on Reacher actor saying he will play James Gunn's Batman for free? Listen, you want to cast that dude, what is it, Jack Reacher? What is his name? He played Raphael. Alan Richardson. Yeah. Dude, the dude's like 6'3", jacked as shit. He looks like Batman. I would make him Batman. He can act. He has the look. I'd be okay with that being the new incarnation of Batman. I really would. But I don't know if they want to get someone who's a bit more of a prolific actor in movies. Maybe they want more of a guy that's not in TV shows. I don't know, but he definitely looks the part. I think he's a good enough actor to do it. Frederick LeBrun says, I'm currently driving back to my city. It's 1 a.m. I'm from Ottawa, Canada. Well, that's awesome, man. You're driving back to your city? I'm from Ottawa. So how far is the drive? So are you treating this like a podcast, a late night podcast? I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Well, safe travels. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Are you eating some Slim Jims on the road? Drinking a Diet Mountain Dew? I know I would be. Listening to some late night synthwave? Cream and Cheese says, man, I got the notification that you went live like 3 hours ago. I clicked to watch it thinking I missed it and you're still live. Loving the energy, John. Don't ask how I'm still alive. I'm perspirating, I'm wet, I'm moist, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I'm tired, but damn it, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else than right here, right now. Okay? And with all that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. No, I really think I'm going to wrap it up there. I do appreciate you guys hanging out for 3 hours. If you were here the entire time, thank you so much. If you guys just joined, well, I've been talking for 3 hours. Where the fuck were you? But nevertheless, guys, thanks for the questions. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I might start doing a monthly members only and Patreon members only podcast with guests, like a 45-minute podcast, and I will take some questions on those. That's something I want to start doing again very soon. I want to give you guys some extra bonus stuff along the way. And if there's any cool clips from the podcast, I would probably release those on this channel. That's one idea I'm working on right now. Let me know if you want to see that. We got one last question from Claudio Rogajon, who says, I always said Alan Richardson would be a good Eddie Brock. Yeah, if they ever reboot it and actually make a good Venom franchise, I could see that. He would be a very good Eddie Brock. I think he's at a point where he could play a very good Eddie Brock. Fuck, if they made like a Venom TV series, would he not be the perfect fit for it of all time? Bruce Cook says, John, next time bring Jack and Diet Coke. I don't know if I can make it 3 hours with that, man. Roger says, have a good night, John. Always love the streams. Well, thank you guys for joining thanks for joining in, guys, and you guys commenting the whole 3 hours. I do appreciate it. And everybody else, thank you guys so much. Have a good night. I'll see you with a Mickey 17 review, hopefully tomorrow. As always, take care, and I'll see you next time. You had to do it, Joey. You had to do it. Okay. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings. I couldn't leave you hanging, man. Not with a $5 super chat. I can't leave you hanging. You pay your hard-earned money. You deserve a response. You think I could go to bed tonight feeling good about myself if I didn't fucking answer this question? Absolutely not. I would stay up all night, tossing and turning. Here it goes. You won $100 million in the lottery. You would rebuild your own family video store, so you relive the glory days. Can you do your favorite Arnold voice? Oh, so that's just like a fever dream. I don't get any of this? Okay. But that's what I would do with $100 million. I would probably build my own video store. I would. I'd actually make a legitimate video store that would have other things attached to it. It would have all the nostalgia you would ever want. And you would have to be 30 years old to enter it, or else you wouldn't really appreciate it. And the other thing was, do it now. Okay, I'm really going to do it now, though. I'm really going to leave. As always, guys, thanks for the question, man. Take care, and ice to see you. Oh, that's so